Bless me, Father, for I have sinned.
From the creators of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
It's been a year since my last confession.
USA presents I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
We're all gonna die! He's gonna kill us one by one!
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
If you want me, come and get me! I'm right here!
Brandy and Freddie Prinze Jr. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Premieres Tuesday at 9 on USA.
In a world where podcasts reign supreme, two friends dare to ask, do you even movie? Hosted by filmmaker Henrique David and movie aficionado David D. Neuer. Spoiler alert.
So, Dave.
So, Hen.
How was your 4th of July?
It was pretty enjoyable. Got to hang out with my family. Got to catch up with some friends as well. It was an enjoyable event. I swam a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah. Swam, ate a lot of food.
You swam a lot of food?
Swam a lot of food. Swam and ate
is that
a lot
like
of food.
Is that like Gen Z lingo for like bussin' was a thing for a while there?
I didn't have elote, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, you didn't. Man, I may have missed my calling in life as an elotero.
I could see that.
I literally made a shitload of corn and put it in a cooler, to keep it hot.
Yeah.
And then had like a brush and a cup full of elote goop, as I call it. And then I had 2 shakers, one with the spice mix and one with the cotija cheese.
See, I feel like you would be the elote guy that would play the T2 theme. Like that's your ice cream truck theme.
Well, generally, it's like the opposite of the ice cream truck, though. People yell, elote, man, when they see you. They're excited. You don't even celebrate it. You don't even scream it.
Yeah.
Man, maybe that's where I should have done. Says show business.
It's never too late. Who says you can't do both?
The Catholic Church.
Do they?
Oh, my, yes.
Do we?
Do we? No, well, good for you. Did you get anywhere from all the swimming? Like, were you thrown out of a boat or?
There were 2 different pools. Like I was kind of like the swimmer, except instead of like swimming home, I just swam in 2.
It's sad if that was still like the swimmer. You just swim across the pool, get out and go, oh.
I want the swimmer to come to this show, but like there's really not a lot to talk about in that movie. There is. I mean, there's
a lot to talk about.
There is, but it's just
movie.
like, and then he swims in that pool, and then he swims in that pool.
I mean, it's a subtle movie.
Yeah.
Well, until the end, pretty much.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, that's a great film.
I love that movie.
There's so much about it.
I got to show it to you this year.
Was that this year?
Mm-hmm. That was no shit. That was the like first, I think January 1st, because we did a marathon after New Year's. Because that was also the same day we watched Chocolate Strawberry Vanilla.
Oh yeah, man, that was great too.
And Devil Times 5, and God,
we watched the new. Was it 4K?
New 4K. Yep.
Yeah, the new restoration of Devil Times 5, which looked amazing.
Yeah.
My 4th was not too bad, other than making an immense amount of elote. Apparently, do you bring anything to contribute when you go to these
bags of chips?
Hey, that works.
Yeah,
I mean, somebody's got to bring chips.
If I would have had enough time and also had gotten the ingredients like a day ahead, I would have done my ambrosia because I can throw that together super quick. It just needs 3 hours in the fridge, though. I'm white. What do you want?
That's a good question. It's fair. That's a fair point. No, but no. So I made elote and went to my buddy Mike and Jess's. And watched a bunch of fireworks get set off a bunch of my own, and then realized that there's still so many left.
I got to, for the first time in a long time, enjoy the fireworks on the roof of my dad's previous business with the family, like with mom and dad. We hadn't done that in years, dude. And that was pretty awesome.
Nice.
Because you can see the town's fireworks on top of the roof pretty easily. And I mean, have I taken you up there before? I don't think I have.
No.
Yeah. You can see it. We've been going up there for years. I mean, when I was a young kid, we were going up there for the fireworks. And I would say probably last 5-ish, 7 years, we've kind of like dwindled on that. And I would go up there usually by myself, or I'd take some friends up there. So it was cool to catch up with them and actually get to watch the fireworks together in a while.
I don't know if I can remember the last time I saw like a professional fireworks display on purpose.
Yeah.
I have seen like fireworks displays. Like I was driving after I got done at the cookout at about 6 o'clock or so. I went to the cigar lounge, and actually on the way back, I got to see West Carrollton's fireworks go set off because that's right next to where they set them off.
Yeah. There was a time where I can't remember if it was West Milton's I attended or if it was Covington's, but I remember we were coming back because both were the opposite direction. And while we were coming back from the ones we just saw, we caught the end of their fireworks as they were going off down the road.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, fireworks. I do enjoy a good fireworks display.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing will beat that time in California when they set off 7,000 fireworks all at once. And it was like as bright as daylight. That was if you haven't seen that viral video, I highly recommend people seek that out.
The only thing I'm bummed about is I didn't get one of my traditional 4th of July watches in, which is Blowout. Because Blowout has that huge scene at the end with the fireworks.
Oh, yeah, you're right. No, that's a fair point.
Blowout's a phenomenal movie.
Well, it's one of my favorites of all time.
Yeah. No, it's one of De Palma's best.
But I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Parade. Yeah, I tried to watch Uncle Sam and just did not get around to it.
I got Uncle Sam and I got Jaws in. I mean, I got Jaws in on the 50th anniversary because I watched that.
I was going to say, I feel like that wasn't that hard to fit in.
No, because I binged 1 and 2 along with their making ofs in the same day.
Then I watched the one that mattered. Jaws the Revenge. Darn tootin'.
You watched 3 and The Revenge this year, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, the ones that mattered.
Jesus.
What?
3 is just, man.
I don't know. I hear some good defense of 3 sometimes.
I mean, for everything that they do with a killer whale and then nothing paying off with said killer whale and just the dolphins. Like
that is a big bummer.
It's a big bummer.
I can't pretend that's not a huge bummer that they don't do anything with the orcas.
And I still say to this day, if you want a great actual like SeaWorld attack scene in a movie, Shark Attack 2 with Thorsten Kaye, there is a scene where they have a great white in captivity and dude's trying to put on a show just like in Jaws 3. So he decides to have the guy feed the shark in front of the audience, doesn't realize his leg gets caught up in a rope and he gets pulled to the tank.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty solid.
Yeah.
Shark Attack 2.
Gift that keeps on giving.
It's no Shark Attack 3 Megalodon, but what can be?
I mean, just like it's no Turbulence 3 Heavy Metal.
Heavy Metal.
But what can be?
What can be?
So, but no, so nothing of note, huh?
No, not really. I mean, you already know because you got some goodies out of it, but I also went antiquing this weekend at a couple of the antique malls in the area and found some really cool Laserdisc for really cheap prices. So that was awesome. Got myself a Crow Laserdisc. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't bring them with me. I apologize.
I was just going to let that go.
No, you weren't.
You brought it up.
Yeah, but I could tell by your tone you were going to say something along the lines of how you wish you had them.
Once you brought it up.
Yeah, that's fair.
Just saying.
Yeah.
No, God, what did I do? I mean, Saturday I worked because there was a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
Because I just dropped the 100th episode of Terrifying and True.
Nice.
So, yeah, there's a weird feeling when the supplemental podcast to your podcast reaches 100 episodes. It feels a little odd in a good way, but it was a very strange realization. So I did a special episode on Carrie Culberson, which if you've never read about Carrie Culberson, it's very, very interesting, very heartbreaking, but very interesting.
Terrifying True usually is.
Well, it was one of the first court cases in America where somebody was found guilty of murder without a body.
Oh, wow.
And that was in Blanchester.
Yeah.
So not far away at all.
Did they do a movie on that?
I don't think so.
Okay. That name sounds familiar. I mean, I'm sure I probably watched something true crime about it, but
yeah. So it was very interesting. And we did like an hour and a half long one.
Hell yeah.
I didn't skip any details. Very interesting, very kind of crazy.
Yeah.
How it was just so messed up. Like apparently when the girl disappeared, the boyfriend was the one who ended up getting sentenced to life in prison for it. Apparently the sheriff knew the guy's father.
Okay.
Because the father was like a business owner in town. And when they reported her missing, like legally reported her missing, he called them to let them know like, hey, they reported her missing, and like your son's going to be a number one suspect.
Yeah.
Which is not usually how you do things.
No.
Then they took cadaver dogs to the family's big property, and at a little body of water, the dogs went crazy, thinking something was there. So they were like, we're going to drain this pond. But then for whatever reason, the sheriff at like 9 o'clock at night was like, we better stop. It's not safe to do this at night. And then he had everybody leave. Nobody guarding this possible crime scene.
Yeah.
And then they came back 12 hours later.
Did it.
And found nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. That's sus.
Little bit.
That's sus.
They never found her or her car.
Mm-hmm.
And the family's business, junkyard.
Interesting.
With a car crusher.
Interesting again. Wow. That's
yeah.
neat. Yeah.
The family ended up winning a massive lawsuit against the town of Blanchester.
Yeah.
And he managed to get away just kind of unscathed and retire, the sheriff.
Jesus.
But it was a wild mess. And our buddy Dan, he grew up there.
Yeah.
And he said he remembered there were rumors, which we mentioned in the show, but there were rumors people believed that Carrie had been eaten by a lion, because there was a rumor that the family that owned that junkyard kept
Had
a
a
lion
lion?
there.
Wow.
Not true at all. But people believed that they had like a guard lion.
That seems like a terrible guard animal.
I mean, it's in the top 10 effective guard animals.
As somebody who just watched Roar, it seems like a terrible idea for a guard animal.
Was that a documentary?
I kind of. You know about it. Shut up.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that a lion is trainable. I'm saying that a lion will likely attack stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess that helps.
Yeah. I mean, do you know that blanking on her name, Melanie Griffith, like got scalped nearly on the set of Roar?
Wow.
Oh yeah. Like there's a poster, a famous poster they did of a shot of her, and her blood is just coming down, and like it just says like the most dangerous movie ever made, blah blah blah.
Jesus.
Oh yeah. No, Roar is God, that's a fucking movie.
So with that all said,
yes,
back to the 4th of July. Because we are celebrating, what are we calling it?
Life's a Beach.
Life's a Beach. That's it.
Yes.
But before we get to the sun and sand and storms and hooks, what's the dumbest thing you ever did or in person witnessed involving fireworks?
4th of July or fireworks in general?
I think we could go in general because because they're synonymous.
Yeah. God, that's a good one. Let me think here for a second.
Okay. There will be a test at the end.
Will there be a test?
Yeah.
Probably the dumbest thing that I've witnessed. I was not a part of it, but I witnessed, this was in college, and we had, I think we were on break. Yeah. I think we were on our 2-week break. So we were having a get together at our apartment, and long story short, somebody decided to light a Roman candle inside the apartment. Inside the apartment. Holding it and then shoot it out of the sliding door.
Oh, okay. That's a little less idiotic, I suppose.
But it still wasn't.
I said a little.
Yeah, was not the best.
I didn't say it made it good.
Because not only did he miss the door, he shot it into the frame, and then another one hit the couch, and then we had to get a bucket of water and try and put it out real quick.
Sure. Now, this was in college?
This is in college.
Oh, of course it was.
Yes.
So it's like they're like, nobody cares. We don't own this place.
And to be perfectly honest, I don't even remember who it was, because we had at least 15, 20 people over that night. So I don't even remember if they were in our apartment, like the fireworks themselves were in the apartment, or if they had brought them with them.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So I take it you guys did not have Roman candle fights.
No.
Growing up.
No.
I did not either.
Yeah.
But my grown ass father would have Roman candle fights with his buddies. And I was mortified.
That just made me think of another one, actually.
Go ahead, please.
This wasn't in college. This was growing up. It was me, several neighbor kids, and my parents were out back when this happened, because I remember I got yelled at, and even though it wasn't my fault. But somebody had gotten the idea to strap the Roman candles to a bicycle and try and ride the bicycle while the Roman candles were going off.
Like a rocket.
Yes.
Mm.
And I don't recall if the first one hit him in the stomach or if it was the second one that hit him in the stomach, but his shirt nearly caught fire.
The person riding the bike? How did they were pointing away from him though, right?
Well, because they were riding the bike, so they were in the spokes. So they were
in the spokes. Okay, so not like a rocket.
No, not like that.
Oh,
no.
that's why I was confused.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so just retarded. Just really stupid.
Not the smartest.
Not smart move.
Kevin never really had smarts, I would say.
So funny you say that, because when I was a kid, we had these they looked like firecrackers, but they were little smoke bombs.
Yeah.
But they were cylindrical. They looked just like a firecracker. But all they gave like the most pathetic amount of smoke. Just psh.
Yeah.
But me and a friend figured out that if we taped them to the back of this styrofoam airplane we had, and we taped them way far back so that they wouldn't get very hot, and lit it and threw it, the plane would like go through the air, and then when it hit, it would shoot it forward like a little bit faster.
Oh, man.
And we did that for hours until finally we caught the back end, not even on fire.
Yeah.
It just melted a bit. And then we were like, yeah, we probably shouldn't keep doing this.
I don't know if you would count it as fireworks. I mean, you technically buy them usually with them, but the poppets.
Yeah, drop pops.
Somebody got expelled at my school, my elementary school back in the day, because they put them all along the toilets in the girls' bathroom.
They expelled them from an elementary school. Jeez.
That person may or may not have already had some stuff, if I remember correctly, like had some issues before. So this might have just been like the kick in the pants.
I can't imagine that that's your starting point.
I think it was more so the fact that they literally did all 5 toilets in the girls' bathroom, and he was a boy.
I told you my cousin and I. Well, it was my cousin's idea because he was a little shit, and I was like a burgeoning little shit.
Yeah.
That he and I would go. He would drag me out, and we would put balloons under the car tires of people when they were at the parties at his parents'
I think
house.
you've told me that. Yeah.
So when people backed up, they hear pop. It's pretty funny.
What's the? Has there ever been a firework malfunction that you've witnessed that was really bad?
Mm-hmm.
What would you?
No,
have?
the one I was going to mention, in general, is my father. Every now and then, I don't know how many exactly, but I spent several 4th of Julys with him because I would go to New Hampshire for 2 or 3 weeks in the summer.
Yeah.
And I spent at least 3 or 4 with him because I remember seeing fireworks with him and his friends and stuff. But one time we were in the parking lot of his apartment and we were throwing firecrackers and setting them off. And it was really, honestly, one of my favorite 4th of July memories until the part I'm about to tell you, which made it forever memorable.
Yeah.
But we were like throwing fireworks, setting them off. They were like, little, like not M80s, but like they were little poppers and they nice booms. But like this old guy named Charlie who lived like way up on the top of the building, which was like 4 stories high.
Yeah.
Was like cheering us on. He was like, yeah. And then at one point he was like, hey, and he dropped like a bunch of firecrackers, like in the, where they go, psh.
Yeah.
He like dropped one down to the ground and we lit it and set it off. It was fine. It was just, we were just having a great time. Well, then my dad, because my dad is always excited to look cool. My dad was lighting, some fireworks to throw, and he decided, well, I'm cool. So he took a firecracker and went to light it in the cigarette in his mouth.
Oh my God.
And this is just bad luck.
Yeah.
The fuse just happened to have a little extra kick. You know how, because they're made out of what is it? That stuff that burns really fast.
Phosphate.
I think.
Well, yeah.
Oh, what is it called? Because the Mythbusters, they always play with it and stuff. It's like a very, very. It burns very hot. It's what sparklers are made out of.
Yeah.
They're entirely made out of it.
Yeah.
But that's what's in a fuse to keep it burning. And for whatever reason, it just was a really hot fuse. So it spewed, spark, dust, vapor all in his face. And then he just he had to throw it because then it popped. And he just stood there like with his eyes all closed, and he was like not acting like it hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like wiping his face and he was just like trying to my dad, in many ways, my dad would do stupid things, but my father, if he were an animal, he would be a house cat, because if he did something really dumb, he would stand there like it didn't happen. Like when a cat jumps and misses the table and just like flops on the ground and then just stands there like nothing happened. That would be my dad, whether it was blasting his face with a firecracker or cutting himself with a cooking knife. You know, that was my dad.
Yeah.
Very much. But I just remember his face getting blasted full of sparks and then him just like throwing the firecracker and then being all like, and then like, you know, trying to just keep going. And eventually he washed his eyes out with water. It was very, very funny. Very funny memory.
Yeah.
And it taught me.
Don't do that.
Well, and here's the thing, you know, it was an educational moment.
Yeah.
It taught me, hey, be careful with fireworks.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually watched somebody have a Dutch moment with the fuse going into a bag of them. Like, I think it was a box of them actually, but basically they had been lighting off fireworks, didn't realize, I guess they were too close. So one started going off and then the entire bag caught fire.
That's something.
Yeah. Luckily we were in a field, so like it wasn't a huge deal, but yeah, still pretty bad.
It'd be quite a show.
Yeah.
Once they caught.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, when I was a kid, we never had the cool fireworks until with my dad, we'd have the ones that exploded. But as a kid with my mom, it was only the stuff that sold at the grocery store, which was all smoke stuff, maybe a couple of like big sparks.
Mm-hmm.
And that was pretty much it. But some of those smoke bombs were crazy. I mean, they would like fill the neighborhood with red smoke or blue smoke or whatever. And they were a little scary because they would shoot off a little tip, you know, to like pump out the smoke.
Yeah.
And I remember because we wanted to have it pointing straight up, but my stepdad got nervous about it going up and like hitting an apartment or something. So we laid it on its side, which was fine, except there was just it was a blue streak on the sidewalk in front of our apartment for as long as we lived there, after we just stained it, you know, permanently blue, which I thought was worrisome because I was always a worrying kid.
I remember on Court TV once, and yes, it was Court TV when I saw this, there was a story about a guy he was selling fireworks out of his van, but he also lived in his van, and he fell asleep smoking a cigarette.
That's how you do it.
Yeah. His van went up along.
That is a story right there. I live in this van. I sell fireworks from this van. I sleep in this van, and I'm going to fall asleep smoking a cigarette, which is already dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's already super dangerous. But don't worry, van is full of fireworks.
Yep. And I just lay on this thing of oily rags.
Yeah, I just live on this pile of discarded oily rags and just go to town. No, I love fireworks. For years, I had to basically just avoid them because my dog Chicano was terrifying.
Yeah.
You remember, he was very scared of them. And he got better the last few years where he wouldn't like hide and cower or shake anymore, but he would definitely like hear a pop and then he'd just come over to you and like lay by your foot and be like, I don't like this very much. So he handled it pretty well. But because of that, I stopped setting him off at home because I didn't want to scare him extra. Like, it was bad enough everybody else around would be setting off fireworks. Yeah. Especially during 2020. We had so much fireworks going off all the time.
Yeah.
Crazy amounts.
One of the things that I picked up on this year so far that I've seen from a lot of people is that they are saying that like their cars, their pools and everything were getting covered with debris from them this year.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when things are outside.
I mean, that's true. But like, I guess I think there was a lifting on a certain like ruling with like how you could shoot them off in the city limits, apparently.
I mean, from what I understand, basically you can't. It's just only enforced in extreme circumstances.
Yeah. And
that's my understanding.
It sounds like there may be attention to it this year was my point. Because it seemed like I was seeing a lot of complaints this year that I've ever seen of people like being like, my car is covered in debris. There's debris in my pool, like all this stuff. Like people having to go out and take care of it in their yard before their pets get out too.
Sure. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's a delight to have people shooting off like massive, fireworks that go up in the air and pop all big mortars. That's the word I was trying to think of. I do love me a good bottle rocket, though.
Oh yeah. Bottle rockets are fun.
But especially because you could try and like light like 4 at once. So then they all just shoot off one by one. And then you just pray the bottle doesn't fall over.
Roman candles are my favorite.
I don't like Roman candles.
You don't like Roman candles?
I do, but I don't.
Okay.
If you operate them as they're meant to be operated, they are so boring.
Yes.
And if you do literally the first thing they tell you not to do on the package, which is hold them, then they're really awesome.
Yeah. Especially if you're dual wheeling.
Light them both with a cigarette in your mouth and then just stand there being America, baby. Jesus Christ. Being America. But no, it was not a bad 4th. I came off of just an obscene amount of work.
Yeah.
And then I actually had to work quite a bit to even take Friday off.
Yeah.
So I don't sound as amped because I didn't really I went to the barbecue, had a fun time with everybody, but I didn't really get to relax.
I understand.
Much.
Yeah.
Really.
But you did get to see the new Jurassic Park.
I did. And I actually saw that in Cincinnati with a friend of mine.
No shit.
I'm trying a thing. I did that Oddities Expo in Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
And I realized I had a really fun time in Columbus, and I'd never really hung out in Columbus much at all. Never was a very big fan.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I mean, yeah, I only hung out in like 3 neighborhoods, but like, it was nice.
Still nice.
I had a fun time.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to give Columbus a chance, and I need to give Cincinnati a chance.
Yeah.
Because I live in Dayton, and Dayton is about 45 minutes from Cincy, about an hour and 20 minutes or so from Columbus.
Yeah.
And I need to give them a chance. I also need to give Indianapolis a chance, but I went there recently and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But so I went to Cincinnati and hung out with a friend of mine. She took me to a pizza place. We went to see a movie at the Esquire Theater.
Oh, no shit.
And
that's where I see Rocky at sometimes.
The
It's been a long time. But...
Well, do you remember the district it's in?
Oh, yeah. It's right by UC.
You don't remember the name of it, though, I'm guessing.
Apparently not.
It's the Gaslight District.
Gaslight District, yes.
And literally, when we were walking to the theater after I'd found a parking spot, there's the Gaslight Bar and Grill.
Yeah.
And I just looked at that and I was like, oh, man. And she was like, what? And I was like, if I worked there, I would walk up to the table and be like, hey, so glad to have you back. And when they said, like, I've never been here before, I'm like, yeah,
Yes,
you have.
Yes.
You were here a couple of days ago. No, I wasn't. Yes, you were. You were here. You sound crazy.
You've always been the caretaker here.
So but I love that it's still the Gaslight District. It's like, oh, your favorite part of town. I mean, it's all right. No, it's your favorite.
I remember there was one Rocky show we'd gone to with friends, and I was the one that drove down. And right as we got there, my window got stuck in the down position.
Oh, that sucks.
And that's not a great place to have your window down.
It's not that bad of a neighborhood.
It's not bad, but
at least not now.
Great, yeah.
I mean, it was pretty gentrified when I went, but
this is about like 10, 15 years ago. I think about it.
Yeah, you are mortal. You're gonna die someday. No, but we had fun. Yes, so I saw Jurassic World Rebirth, and I liked it. I've heard a lot of really strong opinions that are really aggro about it that I'm completely confused by.
Yeah,
because it's just an action movie with dinosaurs. Now,
it's no Carnosaur.
Well, nothing can be Carnosaur other than, except Carnosaur 2 and Carnosaur 3.
Yes.
Which are literally feature Carnosaur 1 heavily in them. But no, it's an action movie. It's very sci-fi. And I like that these Jurassic World movies have been going more sci-fi as they go. They just keep being more and more sci-fi focused because I love the killer dinosaur angle, but like you can only take that so far before you need something more.
Well, and I genuinely think one of the scariest ones in recent has been Jurassic World Forbidden Kingdom. And that was the one that a lot of people hated because of how dark it went. But I thought overall,
and how it like left the dinosaurs behind for a really long time.
But also the overall scare of the, what was that thing called? The Atomosaurus or something like that. The
Adamus Rex?
Yes.
Okay.
The one with the control with the gun. Yes. That one. I liked that element.
I liked it. I loved the whole darkness about the human cloning and stuff. That stuff actually grabbed me a lot. I totally get why they then ended on the fan service, like happy one with Dr. Grant and everybody back.
Yeah.
I get why they ended on that because that one was pretty damn dark and pretty harsh and sad.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Well, I mean, you can't really, just have a dinosaur crying out as it gets engulfed by smoke and not feel something.
No. What was that dinosaur cartoon that made everybody sad? Was that the Land? That wasn't Land Before Time.
There's Land Before Time. There's We're Back. There's the movie Dinosaur. I think it is Land Before Time. Land Before Time has a really sad opening.
No, it's Land Before Time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad stuff.
By the way, did you know there's like 12 of those?
Oh yeah. They just kept cranking them out for made for video, right?
When I got that collection in my Voodoo from that account I swapped and everything, I got all of them.
Nice.
So I was like, holy shit, there's that many.
Okay. Little dinosaur action. Actually, I'm going to try and make Carnosaur a 4th of July thing from now on.
It's a good one.
Yeah, we need the Blu-rays, man.
Yeah.
Like Shout Factory has to be working on that.
I'm still
Has to be.
upset that we haven't gotten a Stepfather collection because Shout has had those rights for at least 6 or 7 years now.
Yeah, but I don't know
If
if
it's
the film
fifth-
elements exist for 3.
I mean,
I'm
fair.
sure that 1 and 2,
Yeah.
the elements are out there. And my heart says Carnosaur's film elements must exist.
Oh, they have to.
I mean, that was a big Corman movie, and he kept a lot of those elements. So I feel like a Carnosaur box is coming someday.
It's got to be Shout.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
Shout would have to own. They have to own those.
Well, and like the only thing that's been a bummer about them having his entire library and them releasing it so far is a lot of the deeper cuts they're releasing through Shout's website exclusives.
but that makes perfect sense.
No, it does.
because it's higher risk.
I'm just missing some of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Shit, like I told you, Sawbones had a Blu-ray release.
yeah, I was shocked. Sawbone's pretty good.
Yeah.
But no, I get why they do it though, because less people are going to buy it.
Mhm.
So why not only sell it where you get to keep the most of the money?
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, the bites everybody's taking when you buy something, even just on like Amazon, where there's one step between you. Let's say a $30 Blu-ray,
Mhm.
they're probably making about, if you don't buy it direct, they're probably making about $13 or $14 on it at
Okay.
most.
Yeah.
And that's before costs.
That makes sense.
And then there's cost and everything. So that knocks it down a lot. Now,
yeah.
meanwhile, they could, sell it only on their own website, charge even a little less,
Yeah.
and still take home way more. So I get why. And I get why all these services do we'll ship it early if you buy it direct and all this stuff, because they make way more money off of it. And the Blu-ray market is only becoming more boutique and more niche.
Yeah.
So you really want to be guiding people to your own website.
I mean, the fact that you and I watched a 4K of Jade recently still blows my mind.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because that's literally the first erotic thriller that I had ever seen, way before I should have, for that matter. Good old USA.
It wasn't nearly as erotic as I was expecting.
No,
it
it
was no sliver.
It thinks it is. It really thinks it is though.
Oh yeah, no, I would agree with that sentiment. I would certainly agree with that. So, but yeah, so that's all. Now, one more thing though.
Yeah.
We need to talk about the end of 28 Years Later, David.
Oh, do we again?
Well, no, yes. No, we had a comment on Spotify,
Mhm.
and I remembered it,
Mhm.
so I was like, I'm going to bring it up.
Yeah.
But one of our listeners mentioned, would you feel different if it had been a sting? If it had been a stinger? If it had been mid credits or post credits? How would you feel then?
You know what? That's a good question. Because
So for those who are new, Dave was not a very big fan of the literally last 2 minutes.
last 2 minutes, yeah.
Of 28 Years Later.
Yeah. I would say so. If it was a stinger, damn. I mean, that's a good question because that gives the oomph of technically not a part of the movie in a sense. So yeah, I think I would have been okay if it was a stinger, more so than how it is. But I've had some time to digest it a little bit more, and I think once I see the movie again, which I'm probably not going to watch it again until the new one comes out, probably right before the new one comes out, my opinion could change on the movie. But at the same time, it's just I was really, really into that movie, and it just seemed like that was the last thing that was just kind of it just didn't fit. But yeah, I mean, a stinger scene would have probably made a difference. I will say that.
You wouldn't have felt so immediately bothered by it.
But then also on that same front, you could say the same thing with Sinner's stinger scene. I think it should have not been a stinger scene. I think that was a pretty critical point of that movie, to be honest.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
No, I would definitely agree.
So I get both sides of it in that sense, where it's just yeah, it absolutely could have been a stinger scene and worked better, but how it is really isn't that bad. I think it was just a little shell shocking for me because it was just completely different tone.
Well, and it's meant to be. It's definitely whiplash inducing on purpose.
Yeah.
So, but I just wanted to mention that real quick.
That's a good question.
They popped in with that question.
Yeah.
So with that all being said,
Yes, sir.
we have another Life's a Beach film.
We do indeed.
And we picked one that's a little bit timely, both near-ish the 4th of July.
Yeah.
And also summer movie.
Summer movie indeed.
And also there's a legacy sequel
Yes, there is.
coming out because tonight we're talking about
I
cheers.
Still Know What You Did Last Summer from 1998.
Yes, of course, a sequel to I Know What You Did Last Summer. And
Yep.
I think, is this the first sequel we've talked about to a movie we've talked about before?
Yes, it is.
So, because actually, I think the only sequel movie we talked about was Pupmaster 4.
Jaws of Revenge.
Oh, duh. Well, that was recent, so
Yeah.
shut up.
Yeah.
No, so, okay. So, but we have never talked about a first and then a second.
Yeah. Which technically means, I guess, now we'll eventually, if people want us to, have to talk about I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer.
Guys, our email address is doyouevenmoviepod@gmail.com. David has a deep disdain for I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer.
I just don't remember it being good.
And
Also didn't finish it, though.
if you guys ask for it, we will watch it. We will.
Will it be an entire episode is the question. I mean,
Well, I'm not going to make it a two-parter. We haven't done a two-parter yet. So I think it's going to have to be just one, David.
Jesus. But yes, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer from 1998. 1 hour and 40 minutes, rated R for intense terror, violence, and gore, strong language, and some drug use.
Yeah, a little bit. All uncredited Jack Black.
All uncredited Jack Black. IMDb synopsis says, the murderous fisherman with a hook is back once again, stalking the two surviving teens, Julie and Ray, who had left him for dead, as well as cause even more murder and mayhem, this time at a posh island resort.
It is posh.
It is posh. I mean, Jeffrey Combs.
Which he didn't have a comb over. What were you remembering?
His
He had
hairstyle
a
in
buzz
general.
cut. He had a buzz cut, which buzz cut Jeffrey Combs, I was not really prepared for.
If it wasn't for the teeth, it wouldn't be as bad. I think the teeth kind of add to it a little bit.
Chef's kiss on those front teeth he was wearing.
My synopsis says, an island vacation becomes a nightmare when bodies begin to pile up at a resort during a storm 2 years after Julie and Ray faced the killer fisherman, Ben Willis.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid description.
Taglines.
Oh, yeah. No, I understand there's plenty.
There is plenty this go round. First up, some secrets will haunt you forever.
Not bad.
Someone is dying for a second chance.
Okay.
I Still Know.
That's in the title.
My favorite.
Okay.
The sequel that will hook you again.
That's great. I love that. That had to be the VHS. ...
The story continues.
Yeah, that's okay.
Get hooked again.
What was the first one that said get hooked?
The sequel will hook you again.
Oh. Get hooked that had to have been on VHS. Yeah.
The man with the hook is back, and this time he's really mad.
I'm going to have to start demanding that you find
Where these
examples
are at.
so you can be like, and that was on this crappy poster or whatever. Because that is, what on earth, man?
Some people will never forget.
That one's okay.
It's happening again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
As of this recording, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is available to rent or buy on Prime or Fandango. You can also get it on DVD, Blu-ray, and now 4K as well.
Yeah.
Director on the film is Jim Gillespie. He gets his start in 1991 as a director and writer on Strangers. Goes on to do The Young Americans in 93. Or excuse me, the director is Danny Cannon. That's a mistake on my part.
Who's Gillespie?
That's the director of the original.
Oh, wow, David.
Yeah, fuck that up. My bad.
Wow, guys.
I was like, that doesn't sound right.
Nah.
Take two. Director is Danny Cannon. Director and writer on Strangers in 91, The Young Americans in 93, which is a Harvey Keitel thriller that is him and Viggo Mortensen. Keitel's a cop, and Mortensen is like a gangster in this like club and everything. Sounds way more exciting than the actual movie is, but it's not a bad like little crime thriller.
Okay.
But there's one movie in here that we really like that he did.
Okay.
So he does Young Americans in 93, Bjork volume video in 99.
Oh, man, that's the one, right?
Directs and writes episodes of CSI in 2002 through 2007. One of my favorites, which is I think is called Suckers, which were you a CSI fan?
I watched it when it was on.
Did you ever see the episode where they're at like a hotel and a woman starts screaming because somebody fell into a pool and that there's a live wire that's like shocking the pool, so like the person's dead floating in the water. They get there, they realize that the live wire is hooked up to a car battery. The person in the pool is a dummy, and then all of a sudden when they find the dummy, an alarm goes off. They go into this like vault and it's completely robbed. The guard's tied up and everything.
Holy crap.
One of my favorite things is Grissom goes, when they pull the dummy out, he goes, "This isn't a crime scene." You hear the alarm go off. They go and see all the sites and everything. Goes, "This is a crime scene." Smash cuts to the credits. Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Solid episode.
I have not seen that one.
Then he does the Dark Blue series in 2009, Gotham, director and writer of in 2009, episodes of Pennyworth in 2019. While this is also going on, he ends up directing Bjork's music video for Play Dead in 93.
All right.
He directs Judge Dredd in 95.
Oh.
Hang on. Phoenix in 98, the Ray Liotta Dirty Cop movie that we loved.
That was really good.
Really good.
Yeah.
So then he does I Still Know What You Did Last Summer in 98, episodes of CSI Miami in 2003, Goal, The Dream Begins in 2005, Justice in 06, Capital Law, The Cure, The 11th Hour, The Forgotten, Miami Medical, Alcatraz, Nikita, Shameless, The Tomorrow People, The Lottery, Training Day, the series, and most recently in 2023, Gotham Knights.
What was the one I was? Oh, was it Phoenix?
Phoenix.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is a good one.
Judge Dredd and Phoenix are pretty big titles.
Yeah, no, on Judge Dredd, I actually think H is decent.
It does. I mean, Dredd is immaculate.
It's no Demolition Man.
Nothing can be.
I actually heard somebody talking on a podcast, not about movies, but they brought up Stallone briefly, and somebody said, like, I think, crazy thing, Demolition Man has aged really well. It's really, I think it's smart. And I was like, yes, you're the only one who's figured that out,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Okay.
My favorite thing about Demolition Man is, do you know that he straight up fired extras in that movie because they were taller than him in shots?
That's funny.
Yeah. Writer on the film, one of them is Lois Duncan, who, of course, is the creator of the original book. Writer and journalist, does Love Songs for Joyce in 58, Game of Danger in 62, Point of Violence 66, Ransom in 66, Hotel for Dogs. Writes I Know What You Did Last Summer in 73, followed by When the Bow Breaks, Summer, Killing Mr. Griffin, Daughters of Eve, Who Killed My Daughter, the true crime about her own daughter in 92.
Right.
Gallows Hill in 97. She's also credited on movies such as Summer of Fear, Killing Mr. Griffin, I Know What You Did Last Summer, I've Been Waiting for You. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer in 98. She gets character credit for. Don't Look Behind You in 99. Held for Ransom, I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer character credit in 2006.
There you go.
Hotel for Dogs and Down a Dark Hall most recently in 2018.
Yeah. I mean, she was one of the pioneers of young adult mystery and horror.
Other writer who does the screenplay for I Still Know is Trey Calloway. He gets his start writing for Timon and Pumbaa in 95, the TV show.
Timon and Pumbaa. I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah, because it was to Hakuna Matata.
Yes, it was. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer in 98, creates Mercy Point in 98, the series, Lost in Oz in 2000, Witch in 2005, episodes of Supernatural, CSI New York, Who Done It, Revolution in 2013, The Messengers, the Rush Hour series, APB in 2017, Station in 2019, and most recently writing on 911 Lone Star.
Oh, well, this may never get a chance to come up again, but did I ever tell you I briefly dated a girl who had Hakuna Matata tattooed above her butt?
You did not. That is a story. I mean,
She was proud of that. I mean, she would point it out.
Yeah.
She would be like, I have Hakuna Matata tattooed right here.
To each their own.
There's not much more to say. What?
Just pictured you with no fate.
Oh, with no fate? Like a tramp stamp of no fate, a jersey tag of no fate. I'll tell you, we'll do a GoFundMe, and if we hit an obscenely high amount, I'll get the no fate tramp stamp.
Oh my God.
And then stretch goal, I'll get the Oz tattoo on my arm. Michelle's been trying to get me to agree to that.
To the Oz tattoo? I mean, I can see that.
I tattoos hurt.
Yeah.
Ow.
I have one. Cinematographer on the movie is Vernon Layton. He gets his start in 1980 on Mick Vicker. Does Perot in 89, Come Home Charlie and Face Them in 1990, Under Suspicion in 91, shoots Red Hot in 93, The Young Americans in 93, The Englishman Who Went Up a Hill But Came Down a Mountain in 1995.
Well, that's quite a title.
Yep. Stars Hugh Grant. Are you surprised?
No. Not at all.
High School High in 96. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer in 98. Don't Go Breaking My Heart in 99. Station Gym. Second Nature in 2003. Blackball in 2003. Then in 2004 shoots Seed of Chucky.
Really?
Yeah. Then goes on to shoot My First Wedding in 2006, followed by Day of Flowers in 2012.
Interesting career.
Yeah.
I love Seed of Chucky just pops in there.
I've only seen that movie once, and I need to go back to it.
I need to give it another chance. It's so hard to top Bride.
Bride's fun.
Bride of Chucky is exactly what Chucky needed.
Yeah.
and exactly what horror needed.
Yeah.
And I can see, like, with no doubt in my mind, why they were like, Ronnie Yu,
yeah.
Freddy versus Jason. Because they had this property in Freddy versus Jason that they were struggling what to do with it exactly.
Yeah.
And after seeing what Ronnie Yu did with Bride of Chucky, it's like, hand it to this guy.
Oh, yeah.
And just see what happens.
No, Bride of Chucky just ages well.
Well, it was just, I remember after seeing all the Child's Play movies on TV all the time when I was a kid and being terrified because I had a My Buddy doll. I did.
Yeah.
And I locked it in the closet.
That's what you said.
It was scary to me. But with all of that, I remember when we rented Bride of Chucky and put it on, I don't even remember how old was I. When did that come out?
Bride of Chucky would have been 98, I think, the same year as this, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, really?
I think so.
You're right, 1998.
I thought so.
So I would have been, by the time I probably saw it on tape, I would have been like 12 or 13. So yeah, it like blew my mind.
Yeah.
I was just like, whoa, because it was so energetic and visually interesting and fun.
Has one of my favorite deaths of the entire series, which is the bottle into the mirror above the bed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That movie's so full of awesome set pieces.
Yeah.
And talk about ballsy to go that direction with Child's Play.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, because Child's Play 1 and 2, very similar.
Yep.
3, still pretty similar, but they take it up a notch.
Yeah.
You know, going to the boys' camp, military school and stuff. But like, you know, it started to peter off. And then they do Bride of Chucky, and you're just like, holy shit.
I always remembered that just Child's Play 3 has that opening that is just so haunting when they're making the new Chucky dolls, like the way that it is. Because I remember I was watching it in bed one night, and my ex was just like, what are you watching? Like, can you watch something else, please? Because I was laying in bed.
You're like, it's Child's Play 3. Come on. What the hell? And then you immediately changed it to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, Turtles in Time.
Turtles in Time.
Yeah.
Oh, Turtles in Time.
That was my go to bed movie for years when I was really little.
It was the first time I ever saw, I can never remember his full name, but it's Stuart, is not Stuart Whitman, but he's the guy that's the villain in Turtles in Time, and he's also the villain in No Escape. The Ray Liotta movie.
I don't remember his name.
Yeah. Cast on the movie includes Jennifer Love Hewitt, who plays Julie James in the film. She gets her start in 1989 with Kids Incorporated.
Yeah.
Goes on to be in Munchie in 92, Shaky Ground in 92, Little Miss Millions in 93, Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit, Party of Five, House Arrest, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Boy Meets World, Can't Hardly Wait, the Smash Mouth video for Can't Get Enough of You Baby, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer in 98, then goes on to do Hercules, The Adventures of Tom and Thumbelina, Heartbreakers, Hunchback of Notre Dame 2, episodes of Family Guy, The Tuxedo, American Dreams, Garfield the Movie in 2004, Truth About Love, Ghost Whisperer, Garfield, A Tale of Two Kitties, Tropic Thunder in 2008, The Client List, SVU, Hot in Cleveland, and The Client List TV series, along with 911 in 2018.
She was everything in the late 90s. Just every magazine, all the women wanted to be her, all the dudes wanted to, be around her.
Yeah.
And I do love that Jim Wynorski cast her in her first feature starring role, and that she
denies
it. Well, no, she doesn't deny that, but she vehemently denies that he discovered her.
I can see that.
Because he cast her in I don't think he cast her in Munchie, because he did Munchies, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe I might be wrong on that. No, I think he did do Munchie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because Munchie's the first one that's got listed, and then it's I thought Little Miss Millions was her big, because isn't that the poster he has in Papadopoulos?
Yeah, that's the one she starred in.
That's right.
Yeah. And he directed her in her first starring role.
Yeah.
Munchie was Jim Wynorski as well. So
this is the new movie is going to be her return to horror after I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. That was the last time she was in a horror film.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I believe that. She became a big deal, and was mostly at that point she could do cameos where everybody would be like, "Whoa, it's Jennifer Love Hewitt," like that was what she could do.
And I think she was dating, or did she marry Jamie Kennedy?
I don't think they ever got married.
Okay, I think
I could be wrong. I'll check
they
on
were
that,
dating at one point, if I'm not mistaken.
But also, when she was in those early movies, she was still going by Love Hewitt.
Yes.
She did not have the Jennifer on her name. It was just Love Hewitt.
Other in the cast, we also have Freddie Prinze Jr., who plays Ray Bronson in the film. He gets his start in 1995 on Family Matters, goes on to be in House of Yes in 97.
That is a damn good film.
Detention, The Seeds of Johnson High in 97. I Know What You Did Last Summer in 97. Sparkler, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. She's All That. Wind Commander, Down to You. Boys and Girls, Head Over Heels. Summer Catch. Frasier, the Scooby-Doo movie in 2002. Friends, Scooby-Doo 2. Boston Legal. Freddie, the short-lived series.
Hey.
George Lopez Show. The Reef. Happily Never After, Brooklyn Rules, Deluge, Mass Effect 3, Bones, Star Wars Rebels, Punky Brewster, and most recently Clerks 3 in 2022.
He had a great career too, but he went into wrestling.
Yeah.
He was a lifelong pro wrestling fan. He started writing for wrestling. By the way, so she never married Jamie Kennedy. She married her current husband in 2013.
Okay.
Whose name is Brian Hallisey.
I think they dated briefly because there's a stand-up that Kennedy has shortly after his one called Unwashed, which is like one of his first ones I saw, where she's like in the intro of it with him.
Well, apparently she was kind of in the 90s and the 2000s. She was kind of famous for not famous for, but she was known for dating other high-profile people.
Makes sense.
Joey Lawrence.
Yep.
Carson Daly.
Yep.
Rich Cronin. I'm not sure if I know who.
I know the name, but yeah.
John Mayer.
Yep.
And of course, Jamie Kennedy. Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson. Yeah, that's right.
So she had several like famous relationships going in the 90s and 2000s.
We also have Brandy, aka Brandy Norwood, in the cast, who plays Carla Wilson. She gets her start on Thea in 1993. Goes on to shoot goes on to be in the Brandy music video for I Want to Be Down, Baby, Sitting Up. She also stars in Cinderella in 1997. Jungle Cubs, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer in 98. She does more of her own music videos as The Boy Is Mine, Almost Doesn't Count, stars in The Parkers in 99, Osmosis Jones 2001, What About Us, Raising Dad, Reba, Sabrina the Teenage Witch. So here's an interesting thing with these three. Mm-hmm. Raising Dad, Reba, and Sabrina the Teenage Witch, she's credited as Mysterious Caller in all three of those shows.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
Because I want to mention when Brandy was in this, that was a really big deal.
Yes, it was.
And it was the thing that all the older horror fans I knew at the time were cringing about them putting Brandy in it. They were just cringing.
We also have her in American Dreams 2004, One-on-One, 90210, Drop Dead Diva, The Soul Man, The Game in 2012, Zoe Ever After in 2016, The Perfect Match. Then she does Star in 2018, Descendants Royal Wedding, Queens, Best Christmas Ever, Descendants Rise of the Red, and most recently in 2024, The Front Room.
Yeah, which I like The Front Room a ton. I haven't heard anything about it since it came
Only
out.
thing I've heard mostly is that a lot of people didn't feel like it was a horror film. Yeah.
What?
That's the number one thing that I've been seeing from a lot of people.
What the hell would it be then?
A drama, family drama. It's got
I found that movie very scary.
Well, it's got very, very strong similarities to Saint Maud. I still think that ever since watching both.
Except
those.
I thought this was great.
Well, yeah, Saint Maud was disappointing to say the least.
Yeah, but it was disappointing because it had such a strong concept. So that's praise.
We also got robbed of seeing it in theaters too.
Yeah, that sucked. Not getting to see it in theater. But no, I thought The Front Room was really friggin' good.
Yeah.
And actually, while you were reading that, I was like, oh man, I was wrecking my brain. I was like, there's something she was in that I loved recent.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it was
The Front Room.
It was The Front Room. Really good movie from the other Eggers.
Yes.
The Eggers who cast people of other races.
There is that, yes.
Well, in his defense, I'm picking on the big Eggers. Was it Robert Eggers?
Robert.
All he does is movies that take place in time periods where everybody's pretty much white.
Yeah. Well, and Puritan.
I mean, not you're not wrong.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not even really like, it's just kind of funny that like, and then this one is like all about a racial splits. And,
Yeah.
And it's The Front Room's so friggin' good.
Also in the cast, we have Mekhi Phifer, Bill Cobbs, Jeffrey Combs, Jennifer Esposito, John Hawkes, and even more great names in this. Like there are a lot of good cameos.
So and Combs, I mean, I love the guy.
Yeah.
I think he's great. I think his work is great. He's such a great addition to the ensemble.
He is.
Because he's so shitty to the kids when they check in. The two front teeth thing is just great.
Yeah.
He is his buzz cut. I remember, even though I've seen this movie many times, when he pops up with the buzz cut,
yeah,
I'm just like, Combs with a buzz cut.
Yep.
Okay. Like I love, he looks like he works at IBM in 1952.
Yeah. I can see that actually.
Which IBM might not have existed yet, but whatever.
Yeah.
But no, so I think he's such a great, addition to the cast.
To this. Yeah. So what was your first time watching I Still Needed It last summer?
I definitely rented that on tape, like right when it came out, because I had seen Scream right when it came out.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of that whole cycle of the new slasher.
Yep.
The entire, which I don't know if anybody's doing this. We should start calling it new, like NU, like we do new metal. It should be the new slasher. And that's just the slasher movies post Scream to like 2008 or something. But so I remember renting it and I really liked it as a kid.
Yeah.
Because of the location. The setting is just excellent. They're on a deserted island during a perpetual thunderstorm.
Yeah.
You can't get much better than that sitting in your childhood living room, watching it in the dark on a TV set, eating bagged popcorn.
Not at all.
Like, so I always had a real big soft spot for it. Cause I think as a kid, I Know What You Did Last Summer was maybe a little too not intelligent, but it was a little too complicated.
I can see that.
In some ways.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a slasher movie. So at the end of the day, it wasn't.
But there is a lot to it.
But two, the sequel was much more simplified.
Yep.
The location was so cool. There weren't quite as many characters to have to follow closely.
No.
So I think that might have been why I liked it a lot more as a kid.
Well, and higher body count right off the bat too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. My first time watching it, I think, was the beginning of this episode. The trailer that we played was the USA World Broadcast premiere.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm 90% sure that's how I watched it.
Nice.
Because I distinctly remember the karaoke scene always. I remember I always remember, spoiler, Mekhi Phifer's death. Like, his death is always just so there.
Yeah, it happens really quick.
Yeah.
So it's sudden.
It was
brutally.
one of those that I know I watched on TV a lot. I probably didn't see it uncut until I got the triple pack, which had all three of them, obviously.
And then never finished the third one.
Never finished the third one. But
well, we're going to fix this. Me, our team of listeners and viewers, we're going to fix this.
It's literally in my fucking voodoo, so I have no excuse.
We'll make you an excuse to watch it.
I'm sure you will. But yeah, no, I had seen it on TV, and then I think I eventually got the DVD set and watched it. And I mean, it was always one that I enjoyed, but it was always, the reveal is always a bit blatantly stupid, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's not there were a few really clever things they did
Yeah.
with the surprise.
Yeah.
Because, they did the thing where it's like, it is the guy from the first movie and somebody else.
Well, and I will say, I like this approach to, I know we're getting ahead of ourselves, but I like the approach to the son, because he, even though he like is revealed and everything, it's just like, he doesn't do that thing that they do in the Scream movies. Like, as much
where he
as
gives the long speech.
that, and also just like, I'm crazy. Like,
No, he was definitely, well, I feel like that was one of the strengths of I Know What You Did Last Summer as well, was that the fisherman was always just straight up for vengeance.
Yeah.
No crazy eyed, bull crap. He just wants to kill everybody because,
because that is my complaint with the Scream movies, is while I do appreciate the killer reveals in them, some of them are like, especially 6. Like 6 is still the one that I'm just like, God damn.
They tend to be like, once they reveal it, they have to act like they're like, they've been taking lithium for 8 years and then stopped today.
Right there.
Yeah. Like in that moment, the last of it left their system and they're just like wild eyed and nuts.
So yeah, even with the dumb reveal with this movie, I do appreciate it. And well, fuck it, let's just get into it. So it is 1 year after the murders of Helen and Barry, and Julie is in college. She's trying to get her life together. And we open with her going to church. And she goes into church, she goes into the confessional, and she's like, I have to confess. And he's like, what do you have? And she's like, me and my friends did this some years ago. And all of a sudden we hear him say, I know. I still know.
I still know.
And the hook comes through the confessional, grabs onto her, and she screams, and she's in college class.
And she wakes up in college. And I think that's a really strong opener.
Yes.
I mean, the visual interest of that Catholic church and the confessional and the way their face is obscured, but then you see just enough of his face to scare you. And I think that's good stuff.
I think it's honestly become a little bit of a trope too, but like, to be honest, like I can't think of many movies that have done it, but I know there have been.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have to think, first of all, like, it's establishing her guilt.
Yes.
So the fact that she's dreaming about confessing means that she still feels an incredible amount of guilt over the original incident.
Yeah.
Not even everything else that happened in the first film.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to put that, but also like, especially in a movie like this or a lot of other kind of like horror-y movies, unless it's like an Exorcist ripoff, they're never going to go to a church otherwise.
Yeah.
So it's an opportunity to use a really interesting visual.
Oh,
that's the
absolutely.
biggest thing is
Absolutely.
churches are interesting to look at, especially Catholic churches, big, full of pews and stained glass and statues. It's an interesting way to start.
Oh,
It's an interesting way to kind of express that level of guilt and stuff like that. So I like the idea of like subconscious being you're at church.
Yeah.
Especially since we never get any hint in either movie that
No.
she is particularly a church-going person.
Nope.
But that's the way dreams are. You could literally never go to church in your life and not even be Catholic. And you could totally, thanks to movies and TV shows. And
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
you could totally have a dream that you're going to a confessional.
100%. Yeah. So she runs into her friend, Will, who is kind of got the hots for her. You can kind of see that he's trying to flirt with her, but she's not really.
I would say he's not, I don't know. He's definitely has an interest in her
Yes.
and he likes being around her.
Yeah.
But he's not pushy or anything.
He's not pushy. No. And he's trying to make sure that she's okay, but she's trying to basically rush home at this point. And as she gets home, she runs into Ray. He surprises her.
Yeah. Her boyfriend from back home.
Yep. And he's like, hey, you ready to go? Like, we got the seafood boil, like all the stuff that happened in the first movie. It's the weekend of all that happening.
Yeah, it's 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
And he basically has like all that small town crap that's still pretty fun.
Yeah.
And which is establishing a lot from the first movie about how, he was going to be the townie. He really hoped to escape, but he wasn't going to because he has to take over his father's, I think it was his father's business.
Yeah, father's business.
And she was the one who was like, I can't wait to get out of here. But also I'm like really popular, which is something that I do miss in a lot of slasher movies now.
Yeah.
Is that usually it's not the popular girl and the popular guy who are the main characters anymore. I kind of like that because while you can identify, most viewers will identify more with not being the popular kid.
Yeah.
It kind of raises that bar of interest because you're like, oh, things aren't so perfect and easy anymore. Because now it's so obvious that everybody wants to make the main character the outcast, the loser, the freak. Because let's be real, if you're in show business, you were probably one of them.
Yeah, that's very true.
I mean, even the people who turn out to be Jennifer Love Hewitt tend to have been the nerds in school.
Yeah.
But then thank God they take off their glasses and undo their ponytail.
Oh, yeah.
And then
they're high.
instantly that you're like, what?
One of my favorite gags in Not Another Teen Movie is when she's like, I think we're going to have to start with something drastic, and just takes the glasses off and lets the hair down. Done.
No, that's my, see, I just talked about a trope by using another favorite trope. Oh my gosh, it's to take the glasses off of the ponytail out.
God.
And then just boom. But didn't they do like, when she shakes her head, she just has a full blowout and makeup on and everything.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. That's so good.
One of the Not Another Teen Movie still holds up.
I would love to rewatch that actually.
It's fun. But yeah, so basically Ray's like, you ready to go? And she's just like, I can't. Like, I'm not ready to go back there. Like, I need some more time. And he's not taking the news super well. He's a bit frustrated, but eventually, he's just like, well, when you're ready, like, let me know.
Well, he takes it as a dig against him.
Yeah.
Because she's not just turning down a weekend back home. She's turning down a weekend with him. And that is rough.
Yeah.
Especially since he came all this way to see her.
And you get the idea that like it's a good hour away, I would say.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more.
Probably a little more. Yeah.
It's definitely not, their local college. She's went away to a state school. And so you could see why he'd be frustrated, but also he sees her hanging out with some dude.
Yeah.
And he's not a bad looking guy.
Yeah.
He clearly follows her around like a puppy dog.
When she even calls him on it, she's just like, he's just a friend. He's like, yeah, that's how they all start.
Yeah, you start out being a really nice friend to a girl.
Yep.
And it's like, well.
So she ends up going inside her apartment and immediately is just unsettled. Like the lights are off. She's hearing noises. So she grabs a blade, goes towards her closet where she hears the sound from. And we meet Carla, her roommate, played by Brandy.
Who was digging through her closet to find a little black dress. Great line where she says, like, I was just going to borrow your little black skirt, but I don't want to die for it.
I want to
Forget
die for it. Yeah. Well, because I love it. What are you doing in my closet?
I was looking for the dress. That's so, no, it's a great reveal.
Give me the knife.
Yeah, I'll just take that knife from you real quick. No, and Brandy really is good in this.
Yeah.
As is the case with a lot of actors. I mean, she's only as good as her material.
Yeah.
And it varies. I think once she gets to the island, she isn't given that much to do.
Not much.
I mean, she's just mostly like saying catty stuff to her boyfriend.
Yeah.
And some of it hits, some of it doesn't. I don't really think that's her fault.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to be like a very, in my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, but you have to be a pretty pedigreed actor to elevate your material no matter what it is.
Yeah.
You got to be like a Dennis Hopper. You got to be like a Liam Neeson. You got to be one of those people to really be able to just take whatever they hand you and turn it. Or Nick Cage.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick Cage can really just take whatever you hand him and do it.
Speaking of Neeson, do you know he has a new Ice Road movie on Netflix?
It already out?
Yeah.
I want.
Yeah. When I say already out, I know that they've dropped the title in the trailer. I don't know if it's actually available to watch yet, but it is coming if it's not already here yet.
Why are you taunting me like this?
I wish I could remember the title, but I can't. But anyway, so she decides that she wants to boost Julie up, so they're going to go out for the club, and they meet up with Mekhi Phifer. They meet up with Will, and, they're having their drinks. They're having a good time, and then Julie looks up into the balcony of the club, and we see the Fisherman shadow.
Yes.
Which, unfortunately, he's not behind a DJ booth.
He would have been so great. DJ Hook in the house.
Hook, just scratching the record.
And then playing All-Star.
But then, everybody, just thinks Julie's overreacting. And of course, the Fisherman is not there.
Of course.
So eventually they end up going back home. And the next day, she's in the apartment with Carla. The phone rings and she's like, who is that? And she's like, oh, it's probably, what is Mekhi Phifer's name? Apologies here for a second.
It's something, is it Ty?
Tyrell,
yeah. Okay.
And she's like, oh, it's probably Tyrell. And she's like, that number's unlisted. And she's like, oh, he's my boyfriend of a year. Like, you can trust him. But it turns out it's a radio station calling.
Yes, which they do that, I guess.
Yeah, apparently so.
So the Ice Road Vengeance is what it's called. It is available right now on like Super VOD. Mm-hmm. You can only buy it.
Oh, so it's on Netflix. Okay.
Apparently not.
Okay.
Just wanted to mention that real quick. Sorry, I got excited.
What was the other one called?
Wasn't it just called The Ice Road?
Maybe I think it was The Ice Road. Yeah.
I don't know. I had fun with that.
That was a fun one.
But yeah, sorry. Interrupted everything for that. But no, so Tyrell.
Yeah, so Tyrell is the one that she's not calling, but no, it's the radio station, and they're like, hey, we have a chance for you to win a trip to the Bahamas. All you have to do is tell us what is the capital of Brazil.
Ah, yes.
And they're freaking out. They're trying to go through books, and then I think Julie grabs a thing of coffee and says Rio de Janeiro.
Yep.
And the guy's like, did you just say Rio de Janeiro? That's correct. You've won a trip to the Bahamas.
Whoa.
And if you're listening at home, you know that's not right. Hey, you're ahead of the game.
Well, first of all, you probably don't know.
Yeah.
But unlike when that movie came out, you couldn't just pull out a glass square that's mostly for anxiety and use it to find out what the actual capital of Brazil is, which we'll reveal later on.
Yeah. So she finds out that they've won the trip, and she asks Ray if he wants to go, and at first Ray declines. He doesn't want to do it because he's just not feeling it. He doesn't want to go with their friends. He wants them to have some alone time.
And she's really trying. She's saying like, we'll have fun. We'll get to be alone.
Yeah.
She's really trying to sell it to him.
And that's when he decides that he is going to tell her no this time. So then we cut over to him on the dock with his buddy Dave, who was played by the great John Hawkes from Scary Movie, previous episode. Not that Scary Movie.
Yeah, the other scary movie. And he basically convinces him because he finds out that he wants to propose to her. He shows him the ring because they have this great little exchange where he's just like, oh, I need some time to think about it. Yeah, he looks at it. He's like, I need some time to think about it.
Yeah.
No, it's a great scene.
It's a great scene. So yeah, they end up deciding that they're going to drive out to Boston to surprise Julie, and they're on the road. They're singing along to Here I Go Again on My Own by Whitesnake, having a great time. And then suddenly up ahead, there's a car stopped and a body in the middle of the road.
Uh-oh.
But they can't see what the body is. So he tells Dave to wait in the car. Fucking story of my life.
Yep. How many times have you been killed, by the way, because you had to stay behind?
So many.
Good.
So Ray gets out of the car. He's walking up to the body, and he slowly bends down, turns it over, and we see that it's a mannequin. And he calls back to Dave, but it's too late. The Fisherman is there. He hooks Dave right up the chin, almost down his throat, and pulls him out of the car.
Yeah. He hooks straight down through his mandible, down his throat, pulls him out of the car.
Yep.
But luckily, Freddie Prinze has just enough time to put the magic necklace on the mannequin so that it comes to life to help him fight the bad guy.
There we go. So he starts sprinting. The Fisherman gets into his truck, starts running him down, hits him, sending him over the side, and that is Ray passed out for what we know at the time.
Yeah, he's been hurt quite a bit. And he was supposed to show up the morning of, surprise her.
Yep.
That way it would be more special.
Yep.
And
that doesn't happen, obviously.
Well, hold on. I think that the way he shows up is extra special.
I mean, it is. Spoilers.
I'm the Pollyanna of the group.
So the next morning, Julie, Carla, and Carla's boyfriend Tyrell, along with Will, are in the car and they're getting ready to head out. And
it's clear Tyrell and what was her name? Sorry,
Carla.
They're playing a little matchmakery thing because she's all like, no, he's just a friend. And they're like, well, we'll bring him along. Yeah.
So they end up getting on the boat. They depart out for their trip. And we also have a great cameo by somebody I just want to name real quick. Red West is the actor's name. He plays Red actually in Roadhouse. Love him in this role. Like, he's only in it for 2 scenes, but like he's great.
No, he is.
Yeah.
He is really memorable in both of the scenes.
But yeah, they end up getting to the resort. And immediately once we get to the resort, we see that a lot of people are leaving.
Well, and we want to point out.
Yeah.
So the Bahamas is where they're going.
Yes.
But it's not the mainland Bahamas.
No.
It's a small island resort off the coast of the Bahamas
called Tower Bay.
Right.
Yeah.
So what they actually did was they went to Florida.
Yeah.
And then got on this little ship to take them to this little resort that's not on the mainland of the Bahamas.
Yeah.
It's adjacent to the Bahamas.
Yeah. And we see people are leaving, and we also see that the ferry is going to be leaving tomorrow at 6, or tonight at 6 is the last time, because we found out there's a storm coming in.
That this is actually the off season.
Yes.
And that this place will basically be empty. And it's also why Mr. Jeffrey Combs, when he's checking them in, is very short with them, because he's not the regular guy.
Mr. Brooks,
but he is the off-season, like he's stuck being off-season staff with the very few staff members who are staying on.
Which includes they've got a couple like maids, they've got somebody that's tending to the dock, they've got Jack Black, who's kind of like the groundskeeper guy.
Yeah, he's the pool and groundskeeper person.
Yeah, who is also doing a Rastafarian accent.
Well, but it's clear he's faking it.
He's faking it.
I think it's supposed to be clear.
I think he's maybe the one guy's faking it because Estes calls him on it.
Oh yeah. And he's got the dreadlocks. Don't want to forget the dreadlocks.
Of course. So
Irie, man.
So they also find out that they are staying in the honeymoon suites, 201 and 202.
Ooh.
And there's something mysterious about them, because even when Combs, Mr. Brooks, is just like, oh, you're staying in 201 and 202. And they're like, is something wrong with that? He's like, no, that's just the honeymoon suite. Nothing weird about that. Here's your keys.
Yeah. And I feel like that is kind of a funny red herring.
It is,
because it doesn't really pay off per se.
I mean, it does. I mean, you find out why.
Of. Yeah,
but I mean, it is kind of weak.
Yeah, well, no, but it's nice because it keeps the intrigue up.
Yeah,
because the moment they get there, immediately things aren't quite right.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden it's like they're the only people at this resort. Soon they're the only people on that island.
Yeah.
Other than a few staff people.
And I will say the one thing that I absolutely love about this movie is its location. Like, you are isolated on this island. When the storm moves in, it really moves in. And I mean, I even said it when we were watching it, it has kind of like a Shining-esque feel to it, because they are literally preparing to not close the resort down, but basically batten down the hatches for the storm with the remaining that they have.
I was talking to a friend maybe a week ago, who lives somewhat near the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about how much he likes hurricane season, because we only hear about when it's really bad.
When it's bad, yeah.
But he said that like it's often more, the way he described it, it's more like bodies.
I can see
where
that.
it's like, no, it's just like, there's going to be a big storm. You like get some food, get some beer, you just kind of like snuggle up, and hopefully your power's not out very long.
Yeah.
And you just kind of go through it. So that does in a way sound cozy. I mean, when we get a thunderstorm, it's fun to like pick a movie or make some dinner and whatever. But, times when you have to batten down the hatches is very fun. But like all things like that, like snow and storms, they're great until they're not.
Yeah, until they're not.
Yeah.
And that's before the killer fisherman comes.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair point too.
So we also find out that Tyrell and Carla are going to sleep in their own room, which means Julie and I keep wanting to call him Wilson.
That's funny.
Will Benson.
Yes.
Will and Julie are going to have to shack up now.
Although they make that sound so extreme at first when it's a suite. So like there's going to be a couch. There's going to be like tons of room.
Yeah.
But I get it though, because, when you're in a honeymoon suite, there's an implication.
Yes.
It's the implication.
So that night they end up deciding to go to the bar, and one thing leads to another, and Julie starts singing karaoke.
Yeah. And we find out that the bartender is there for some reason.
Something with men trouble, supposedly.
Well, but she doesn't really volunteer it per se.
Yeah.
She's just kind of like, none of your business why I'm still here.
Yeah.
So, and she's very rough around the edges.
Jennifer Esposito.
She's a solid red herring.
She plays Nancy.
But I would say she's a red herring.
Oh, absolutely.
Much like the one groundskeeper Estes.
Yeah.
I would say they're all very much, extra red herrings. Even Combs is a bit of a red herring.
Oh, yeah,
as well.
no, absolutely. So, yeah, Julie starts singing I Will Survive, and she gets to the main chorus, and all of a sudden on the karaoke screen pops up the words, I still know what you did last summer.
Which is the title of the movie.
Oh, my God.
But
so she starts freaking out.
I love that gag.
Yeah, that's
and it's
great.
in red letters, of course.
So she starts freaking out, and everybody, of course, didn't see it. Even Nancy leaves behind the bar. Like, I always thought that was weird, where she's just like, this isn't my thing.
Yeah, I think that was just about making her more of a red herring. For all we know, she was just like, because she said like, oh, they all think they can sing.
Yeah.
When they're doing the karaoke. So maybe her real reason was she was like, I got to take a piss.
Could be annoying.
And these kids are annoying.
Yeah. So everybody is just like, oh, Julie, you're overreacting. She ends up going back to her room. And as she gets into the room, sitting on a platter right in the front is a little note that says Julie on it, much like the first movie.
Yes.
And she goes to it, takes it out of the envelope, and it says, surprise. And behind her is Wilson.
It's Will. And he's got red roses and a bottle of champagne.
And glasses that break as he drops them when she freaks him out.
Yes. She turns around, screams, he drops them. And then he becomes very apologetic. He's like, oh, maybe this wasn't the right time to try to do that. I'm sorry. So he basically says like, I'm going to go somewhere else for a while and let you calm down and chill out.
So then we cut over to Derek, who is one of the dock hands. He's tying up a boat on the dock, and he gets spooked by Jack Black's character, who's smoking a joint. And he's like, hey, man, let's take the boat out. Like, there's a party on the mainland. Like, what do you say you and I go? He's like, no, man, like, we got a job to do.
And when we first get to the island, he was just like, weed, 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 weed. I got weed. I got weed to the kids. Also, real quick, because it does pay off later. When they first meet Estes, I think we went right over that.
Oh, we did. Yeah,
but he asks them what they did, because they say like we won here, and they say like we had to say the capital of Brazil, Rio de Janeiro, and he just kind of walks away.
Yeah.
Because he's very aloof. Again, red herring. And I do love that this island is so cram-packed full of red herrings, you'd think it was a fish cannery.
Yeah.
So
that's fair.
Hey, that's a pretty good one. I'll write that down.
And we should also say, too, that Jeffrey Combs is immediately annoyed with them, too. I don't think we said that enough. Like, he's immediately just like, oh, yay, teens.
Well, I get the vibe that almost nobody stays there during this time period. In fact, I'm surprised they even let you rent a room.
Yeah.
So I think he's annoyed because it's like it should be basically a vacation where all he has to do is hope the storm isn't too bad.
Yeah.
And he even mentions, I mean, it comes up really soon, but he even mentions like there's a storm shelter if worst comes to worst. But generally we just lay low and wait for it to pass.
Down the hatches, yeah. And I love the one line he says to Mekhi Phifer, the resort will outlive you.
Oh,
they're talking about how old it is. Yeah.
Like, I'll outlive you. And he's right.
He's right. Spoilers. So Derek finishes tying up the boat, but as he is doing that, we see a rope ties around his foot, pulls him in the water, and as he goes to pull himself back up on the dock, there is the fisherman, takes one swipe at him, and Derek is dead.
Yep. And that's the end of that guy.
And we see Jack Black walking as like he hears Derek scream. He looks back, sees nothing, keeps walking on, smoking his joint, and then the really cool shot of the fisherman stepping on the dock.
Yes.
I do love that shot.
There's a lot to like. It's a silly movie, but there's a lot to enjoy.
Yeah. So that is when later that night, there is a housekeeper named Olga, and she apparently is doing room service calls at like midnight.
Yeah, but you made a point that killer could have called her
That's what I'm
to
thinking.
the room because it's an excuse for the killer to catch her.
Yeah.
She notices some linens are covered in blood.
Where did they come from?
I still think that it may have been because of all the corpse positioning foo.
It could be.
You would want to wrap the body in something.
Yeah.
That's my guess is that.
I mean, I guess he could have put the body in there because for Julie's closet here in a second, spoilers again. Yeah. But I think that could be it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the fact is people are definitely being murdered and people are full of blood.
Yes.
So I'm sure there's a reason.
Are they?
That's what I've read.
People are being murdered and people are full of blood.
Damn right.
Here we go. So Olga knocks on the door, housekeeping. Nobody answers. She looks down at her hands and realizes they're covered in blood. We see the door open behind her. Fisherman takes one swipe at her and Olga is dead.
Boom.
Yep. So Olga gets drugged back into the room, and that is when Julie is in her room and she is unable to find her toothbrush. We also see the others have gone to the hot tub at this point, and Brandy's missing a hair tie. Mekhi Phifer's missing a necklace. So there's a couple things that are missing to start.
Some stuff is missing. Things are getting a little odd.
So that is when she searches her room and ends up finding the dead body of Derek falling down from her closet. And he is dead as fuck.
Yeah, he's dead as a door fuck.
So she runs out to the hot tub screaming for everybody to come in. And we see that Mr. Brooks joins them on the way back in. And naturally, when they get back there to her room, Nothing is there.
And of course, what would you assume? Annoying drunk teen kid.
Because he even tells Nancy to lay off the
Dark and Stormies.
Dark and Stormies, thank you.
Which was like Verner's and some stuff in Tabasco sauce.
Yeah. So that is when he tells them, we'll deal with this in the morning. And she goes to pick up the phone up, and he's like, oh, the phone just went down a few minutes ago. She still picks it up. Phone is dead.
I do love that he puts his hand around her, like the phone went out hours ago.
Yeah.
And she still picks it up to check.
Yep.
Which I appreciate because
she's a survivor. Yeah.
Yeah. But also just because it's like we are establishing that this guy can't be trusted.
Yeah.
He's one of our plethora of red herrings. So
we go over to Jack Black, who is tending to his weed plants, and naturally the fisherman gets in, kills him with a pair of clippers, which do we see them? We see him pick him up. And
no, we see it go into his chest.
Okay,
we do. You might have been looking at your phone.
Or I'm thinking of when I watched it on TV.
No, we see it go into his chest.
Okay. I couldn't remember. Yeah. Pretty brutal scene.
No, there were that one in the housekeeper. We got like a close up shot of the hook and then the shears going just right in.
Yeah. So Titus is now dead. Yeah. Titus Telesco.
Why not?
So that is when we cut to the hospital. We see that Ray did survive his injuries. He is in the bed, and they did not find a body.
ICU.
Yeah, they did not find a body, and they did not find the other car, and his car was crashed.
Yeah, they didn't find his friend's body.
Yeah.
So they think he was alone in his car and drunk or something.
Yep. So the doctor's talking to the cop, and as that happens, the flatline alarm starts going off. They go back to the room, and Ray has escaped.
Yeah, he's decided he's going to pull a dark man.
Yep. So the next day, the group is going about their business. They're trying to do some exercise. They're trying to find Titus because they're going to smoke some weed in the storm and help themselves out, but they can't find anybody.
Huh. Yeah, it's like almost everybody's gone.
So they start deciding that Brandy wants Julie to get a tan. So she takes her into the gym room where the tanning bed is, tells her take like 30 minutes, get in the tanning bed.
Yeah, she's just trying to get her to relax, do something self-care-ish.
And while that's happening, we see that Carla goes on to start punching at a punching bag, and she starts hearing a loud noise, a dryer. And earlier in the movie, we did see that she did put her shoes into the dryer and pop them out. Like that's what she does because Julie's like, it's going to break the dryer.
Yeah, no. That's a good payoff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of little
things
touches like that work in this.
So she hears noise in this huge dryer, this industrial dryer they have. So she goes over to it, pops it open, and there's Olga's body, which one thing I noticed this time, her fucking teeth are broken.
Yeah, no, she's been brutalized.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
It's very brutal. So naturally she starts screaming. The guys go over into Titus's shack. They find him dead. They go back into the tanning room where they find Julie screaming because while that was happening, the fisherman came in, took a zip tie and zip tied the tanning bed and turned it all the way up to murder.
Yeah, I like that it has a setting that goes past yellow to red for a tanning bed because I guess like you might want to braise a pork chop in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Murder setting.
There's your problem. You set it to murder instead of golden brown.
So that by this point, they go to find Mr. Brooks. They go into his office, and there is Jeffrey Combs, dead as a door fuck, with a machete in his head and the words in blood written behind him, "I still know."
Great reveal.
Yes.
Like really startling because while you're expecting to find people dead, it's just such a holy shit tableau with the big machete in his skull and the blood written all over, and the room is just covered in blood.
Yeah.
It's really nasty.
One thing we did forget to mention is also in the night before is Estes is doing voodoo rituals with the
personal items.
Yeah.
He's doing some kind of a voodoo ritual with the toothbrush and the hair tie and all that.
Because immediately once they find Brooks dead, they go to find Estes. They go into his room and they find all the voodoo stuff.
And now he's become prime suspect for all this crazy stuff.
Yep. So we see Ray eventually make his way to a pawn shop run by the great Mark Boone Jr.
Great cameo.
And
this scene is funny and weird.
Yeah.
Because he basically pawns the wedding ring.
Yep.
And the guy is like lowballing the hell out of him.
I'll give you $250
for it. And then he's like, how about give me $3 and that? And he points at a revolver. And he's like, that's worth $3 alone. He's like, then just give me that.
Yeah.
He's like, well, there's a waiting period. And he's like,
I'm not waiting.
Is it loaded? He's like, no. He's like, then load
it.
Which is a cool line, then load it.
So he has a gun now. We cut back over to them trying to find Estes, which eventually they do. And this is where we get a pretty big reveal of things, because by this point, what happens is they're hiding out in the main lobby of the hotel, and Julie finds this huge globe, and she spins it around, finds Brazil, and sees that the capital is actually Brasilia.
And then immediately Estes goes, Brasilia is the capital of Brazil.
Yeah.
And it's a really great scare moment.
Yeah.
And I love, like I said, the setting is really so strong in this. It's why I thought of it for Life's a Beach.
Yeah.
Because it's an island storm, which have you been on an island for a storm, or like did you see one in Florida?
I've been in Florida. We've seen some pretty intense ones in Florida.
Yeah, when I lived in Jersey, I lived about 40 miles from the ocean.
Yeah.
And every now and then you just get that oceanside storm where you're just like, holy crap, it's raining really hard and almost sideways.
Yeah.
Not for long, but like, holy crap. And then a few times when I was on Long Beach Island, which is just an island.
Yeah.
Off the coast of Jersey, like we would get these crazy storms for an hour.
Yeah.
You know, and then they'd be gone.
Yeah.
But you'd just be like, holy shit, the sky is completely opened up.
Yeah.
So I think that stuff is really like a fun playground.
This movie reminds me a lot of, I mean, it's freaking easy to say, but Storm of the Century. Like the way that everything kind of encapsulates with the island and the isolation of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah. So Estes basically tells them that he knows the fisherman that they're talking to. He used to work here. He had a wife. He had 2 kids, a boy and a girl. And one day his wife went missing, but there was blood all over the hotel room. They eventually found her. Well, found pieces of her, and Ben just disappeared.
Yeah.
So he takes them out to this grave where we see Sarah Willis is buried.
And this is a hell of a sequence. They're
It
walking
really
in the
is.
pouring rain. Lightning is going on.
Yeah.
And they arrive at the grave, but one of the graves is open.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the stone has now been written over it in red spray paint to say Julie James died 1998.
July 4th,
July 4th,
which is
1998.
that day's date.
Yep. And the grave is empty and ready for her. So immediately she's just like, again, we get the what are you waiting for? Like, I'm right here thing. And that's also when Ben decides that he's going to go, or not Ben, Will decides that he's going to go and find out like what's going on because Estes has disappeared.
Yeah,
by
he
this
just
point.
vanished.
Yeah.
So he goes to find him. He says, I'll meet up back with you and Tyrell, right?
Yeah.
Tyrell was like, we'll meet him at the hotel. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. Cause he was going to go with him. And it's like, you're going to leave us alone.
So Will ends up finding Estes on the beach and he's pulling a boat. So he didn't tell them he had a
paddle boat.
Little paddle boat. He's pulling it towards the water and he's like, hey, Estes, like, oh man, you got a boat. If you found it, that's great. Let's get out of here. And he's like, what does he say?
He says, we're not going anywhere.
We're not going anywhere.
And then he hits him with the oar.
Knocks his ass out with the oar.
Another great payoff.
Yes.
And we may have missed, or maybe it's just about to happen. But meanwhile, her boyfriend is on a bus to Miami.
Yes.
So that's what he did after he bought the gun is he hopped on a bus heading to Miami. So we know what his plan is.
Yeah.
He's going to try to save the day.
Yeah. So, and that is when he actually does eventually reach the dock where we find Red, and Red's inside watching Curse of the Demon, mind you.
Of course. What else would you watch in a storm?
Sitting at his desk, drinking a bottle of Jack. Ray comes in and he's like, I need to get to Tower Point. And he's like, have you seen the weather out there?
I always said, have you looked outside lately?
Yeah. He's like, I'm not asking, draws the gun. Which boat is yours?
Yeah, I love that how he says that too. He's like, which boat is yours?
Yeah.
Just like straight deadpan.
So Will is still knocked out at this point. The crew have made it back into the resort. They're in the kitchen at this point because they start hearing a sound, and also Mekhi Phifer, Tyrell, is trying to find something to eat.
Yeah, he just keeps saying, I'm hungry. On top of all this bullshit, I'm hungry.
So they arm themselves with knives. They go into the kitchen to find them, and that's when they also hear something in the freezer. They open the freezer. A mouse runs out, and also Nancy, the bartender, pops out.
Yeah, and whacks him with a rolling pin.
Rolling pin, yep. So he's sitting there like icing his head down, and he's like, what the hell were you doing? And she's like, well, hey, you found my hiding spot. Like, how was I supposed to know you're not the killer?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't see the sign on it.
So they're talking for a little bit, and then basically, like, nobody is still believing Julie by this point. It's kind of weird.
Well, they're trying to figure out, like, they know, because Estes has made it clear, like, you were misled to come here.
Yeah.
And so now they're wondering who
is it?
Who would be doing it, and why would it be anybody on the island? So she's becoming kind of a red herring to those people, because it's important to remember none of them were in her little town.
Yeah.
None of them really know.
Well,
what
and
happened.
we actually did skip over a huge point where she confesses everything to them on the dock. Shortly when they find the body of Mr. Brooks, they run out to the dock.
Yeah, she tells them what happened. And they're all in shock.
Yeah.
But and rightfully so. I mean, it's a insane thing that happened.
So yeah, they're talking in the kitchen, and I love it. Tyrell's like, I'm hungry, I'm horny, and I haven't seen one side of this fucking killer yet. And all of a sudden, the hook just shoots through his neck.
Yeah, and pulls him straight up. And I said the cruel irony is he still never saw the killer because he got killed from behind.
Yeah.
Harsh.
It is harsh. So that is when the rest of the gang take off running. They're running through the resort, and they end up making their way into the attic, which is a really cool chase scene. This chase scene is probably the best of the movie. Running through the attic, they have to step over these certain beams because they don't want to fall through, and that's when Julie sees that Ben has been in this attic because there's her bedroom right where he was able to climb in, put the body, and sneak back out.
Yes.
So he's been able to watch her the entire trip. One thing leads to another. He gets up in the attic. Brandy falls through it. And that is when they end up escaping out. But Brandy falls through a greenhouse. And she is trapped in this greenhouse. Julie and Nancy make it down to her. The door is padlocked on the other side with a chain. And they're trying to get the chain. And all of a sudden, Ben appears behind her.
Oh, yeah.
So Fisherman's trailing right behind her. Julie grabs a fire axe, tries to get the chain off, eventually just hacks through the window. They pull her through. And he just about gets her foot.
And this is, yeah, you're right, one of the best parts of the whole film because he is so close to killing her so many times. I mean, nick of time out of the way of that hook easily 5 or 6 times, like so close you think it's over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So finally, they decide that they're going to run to the storm cellar. They get inside the storm cellar, and Nancy's like, there's some light in here somewhere. And Carla's like freaking out. And Julie's like, okay, hold my hand. And she's like, no, Carla, hold my hand. She's like, I am. That's not my hand. Flips the light on, and all the bodies are now hidden in the storm cellar.
They've all been hidden down there. She's holding the hand of was it Greta?
Yeah, I think it's Olga.
Olga.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So that is when they start freaking out, obviously. Then Will appears at the steps, and he's like, come with me. Like, we'll get back to the hotel and figure out what's going on. And that's when he also says that he saw Ben on the beach, so they're safe now. So they get back into the hotel, and that is when we see that Estes has been attacked with a spear.
Yeah, he's been stuck through the stomach. And that means that we did miss, he mentions that the voodoo was to protect them because he thought something messed up was going on.
Yeah.
So he was starting to become less of a red herring, but I love the whole we're not going anywhere and swinging the oar because
it's a good fake out.
It keeps him the red herring a little longer.
Yeah. No, it's a great
Good
fake
shit.
out. Good fake out. So that is when, he's stabbed with the spear. He falls into Nancy, like falls on top of her. And we see Ben coming up right behind him. He just puts all his weight down on that spear and kills Nancy and Estes in one swoop.
Shish kebabs them.
One swoop and they are gone. So that is when Nancy is now out of the picture and he goes to attack Carla as well. Julie then tends to Will, and because like he's covered in this blood, and she's like, I can't find this wound. And that's when Will says the infamous line, "That's not my blood, Julie."
It's a solid reveal.
Yes.
A solid reveal. Because I don't think it was painfully obvious he's in line with the killer. Although I mean, it's a little, but then again, it's been 20 years that I've known who the killer is.
Yeah.
So like, it's hard for me to watch it and not
know.
Think that he's the killer.
Yeah.
Well, I still know.
You still know. Yes.
So
that's when he gives the radio station voice. He's like, what's your favorite radio station, Julie? And gives the radio voice revealing that it was all a plan for them to get her here. And that's when he also reveals that he is Will Benson, Ben's son.
Which, yeah, is silly.
It's very silly.
I mean, no, it's totally silly.
So
it's damn silly.
We cut over to Ray, who has got the boat. He's driving through the storm. He's trying to get help on the island. Nobody's answering, but he's getting closer and closer to the island. By this point, Will is dragging her back to the graveyard where the open grate is. And we also see that Ben has arrived now because one of my favorite things is he's like, "Oh, hi, Dad." And there's the first shot of actually Ben taking off his
and we
hood.
see there's a scar and his eye is probably lost
Fake.
vision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is when Ben appears. He goes to attack Julie right before Ray arrives and points the gun on both of them. Goes to shoot, and it's done.
Click.
Yep.
But luckily, it's a magic gun.
It's a magic gun. We'll get there. So Ben tries to stab Ray because that's when Will starts just beating the shit out of Ray. And he's like, I want you to die thinking about all the things we're going to do to her and all this stuff. And that's when Ben is like, hold him up. So Will holds him up. Ben comes in, and at the last second, Ray switches him around, and Ben kills his only son with the hook.
Oh, yeah. Dead as a doornail.
So Ben is distraught. He is pissed off now. He's going right for Ray with the hook raised, and that is when Julie shoots him 8 times with a 5 or 6 shooter.
Yeah, probably 6 rounds. And one of them didn't work.
Yes.
So there should have been potentially 5 bullets.
Yeah.
8, was it 8? 8 times. We counted it while we were watching.
It. Yep.
Yeah. Bang, 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 bang. It's a revolver.
It's a revolver.
It was very, I can't lie. That's one of those things where I'm like, I would love to know if like in the edit room, like if there was actually an argument made of like, let it be more. It's
Yeah.
more exciting. It's like, because it's like, well, that's a lot of shots.
Yeah.
So I wonder if because it couldn't have just been oversight. Somebody had to have been like, no,
Well,
let her shoot him a million times.
I have to say it because it's one of my all-time favorite sequels in horror films. Halloween 2, Loomis shoots him 7 or 8 times at the beginning of Halloween 2 in the flashback.
Yeah, that's why it's a bad movie. And
Shut up.
Dave loves it.
So shoots him 8 times. He falls into the open grave, and I love it because since it's raining so much, it's just a mud pit, and it just starts kind of like going over.
It starts, just swallowing him up.
Yeah.
It's a really awesome shot.
So they end up limping back to the hotel. They find out that Carla's still okay at this point, and right as this happens, the Coast Guard flies in. They're just like, "Hey, stay where you are. Help is on the way." So everybody swoops in and helps them and rescues them. And then sometime later, we find Julie returning to a house that her and Ray have just recently bought together.
And they're wearing wedding rings.
Yes.
It appears they're in marital bliss.
Yes. Ray's brushing his teeth with an electric toothbrush that he loves.
And she has a brand new hairdo.
Has a brand new hairdo. And she is, he makes a comment about, were you checking the locks again? And she's like, old habits. And he's like, hey, well, don't even think about going to bed because they're gonna get down to it.
Oh, they're going to make the beast with 2 backs, eh?
That they are. So he is brushing his teeth and she starts hearing a noise. She goes into the other room and closes a window. We as the audience then see muddy footprints that she apparently does not notice.
Yeah, I don't know why.
So then she goes back into her bedroom. We see that Ray gets shut into the bathroom and she's sitting on the bed and she's just like, deep breath. Everything's okay. She looks into the mirror and there is Ben under her bed, pulls her under while she's screaming. And that is 1998's I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
A hell of a choice for the ending because it's not even, a little bit of a cliffhanger. I mean, he grabs her. Now, of course, if they had done a 3 with them, it probably would have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
Because he was pretty damn dead.
Oh, yeah.
So, but and they even said he had a daughter, right? That wasn't referenced in the first movie. So I'm guessing that they were probably thinking we'll leave the daughter in play.
Unless, is the daughter mentioned in the affair with the other guy?
Remember.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I can't remember. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a hell of a way to end the movie.
So what do you think the budget was?
24. Wow. Okay.
24 million.
Sweet.
So 24 million is the budget. Opening weekend in US and Canada, which is November 15th of 1998. It makes $16 million. Ends up box office wise grossing 40 million.
Not terrible.
Not too bad. No.
I mean, back in those days, that was a good number.
Yeah. While the film is set in the Bahamas, it was actually shot at El Tucan Marina Resort in coastal Agree in Jalisco, Mexico. Jalisco?
Close enough.
Okay. Los Angeles, California, and Sony Picture Studios in Culver City, California.
Jalisco. It's okay. You said it fine.
Scheduling conflicts with Dawson's Creek, The Faculty, Halloween H2O, and gearing up to direct Teaching Miss Tingle prevented Kevin Williamson from writing the screenplay for both this film and Scream 3 after having written their predecessors. So he did not get a chance to do that. Trey Calloway's script was originally published in an edited young adult format, leaving in all the descriptions of violence but omitting the harsher language.
Oh, thank goodness.
Jennifer Love Hewitt signed on because she thought that Jim Gillespie would direct the original, would also direct the sequel. She was bummed when she learned he would not be doing that.
You think she was like, so is Jim coming back to the movie? And the producers were like, nah.
Peter Jackson was asked to direct, according to IMDb.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he had a meeting about it, but I doubt he was flat out asked.
No.
Because he wouldn't have turned it down.
No.
Not at that point in his career.
The film's budget is sometimes incorrectly listed as $65 million. The actual budget was $24 million, only amounted to the former number after promotional material, theater rentals, and other hidden costs post-shooting. Box office was $84 million USD.
Oh, okay.
So it was bigger than we thought. Yeah. The character of Carla Wilson was originally intended to be a white girl until Brandy auditioned and won the role.
Well, good. I mean, she killed it.
She was good, yeah.
She was really good.
Henry Thomas auditioned for the role of Will Benson.
Really?
Yeah. Teaser trailer featured Rosemary Forsyth as a psychiatrist counseling Julie, telling her there is no man with a hook before the killer bursts through a mirror, which I've never seen that one.
Me neither.
In the script, Nancy's character's description is Nancy looks just like Jennifer Esposito, who went to go on to play her.
Hey, there you go.
Jack Black's first horror movie, although he remains uncredited for unknown reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because his career wasn't that huge at the time. He was mostly playing side roles. I'm surprised he wouldn't want to be credited, but maybe not.
Yeah. Jennifer Love Hewitt provided her own vocals for the karaoke scene where Julie sings. Hewitt is a trained singer in real life.
You could tell.
Yeah, I know. When Carla and Julie answer the DJ's question, what is the capital of Brazil? They incorrectly answer Rio de Janeiro. Rio was the only capital until 1960. The correct answer was Brasilia. This shows that the radio contest is a hoax to get them to the island. In the movie, Will says his last name is Benson, Ben's son. If you take both last names, Willis and Benson, it says Will is Ben's son.
Fuck. Okay, that's the problem. Is that's just so much. Although, you know, he didn't go totally crazy, but he was toying with her.
He was. Yeah.
Maybe that was why he did that.
The fate of Nancy and Carla in the scene where they retrieve the first aid kit initially was reversed with Carla dying and Nancy surviving.
Oh, okay.
Tyrell's death is foreshadowed early on when they get to the island during the scene where the impatient and quick to provoke Tyrell ends up getting into a quick and unpleasant exchange with Mr. Brooks about how old the building is. Brooks responds to Tyrell's sarcastic quip, well, it'll outlive you, I'm sure. Foreshadowing Tyrell's death later in the film and quite possibly setting up Mr. Brooks as a sort of red herring.
Oh, I would have to agree with that deeply.
When the group discovers Brooks' body with the words, I still know, written in blood behind him, the culprit puts 2 commas after the word no. During the hotel check-in earlier in the film, Brooks makes a show of adding commas to Carla's signature, hinting that one of Julie's friends must be responsible for Brooks' murder scene, since they were the only ones in the room when that comment was made.
Oh, okay. I didn't even think about that.
When Julie and Carla and Tyrell first arrive at the resort, Will's true nature is foreshadowed as they walk around the fountain. Everyone goes to the right of the path to get around it, except for Will, who goes the opposite left path. As the soundtrack, That Girl plays One of These Things Just Doesn't Belong Here.
Okay.
Some fans have complained the film's title is illogical and should actually be something akin to I Still Know What You Did 2 Summers Ago, since the film is set 2 summers after the first film. It doesn't have the same ring to it.
No, I mean, the grammar, they're right.
Yeah.
But I Still Know What You Did is way better than.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In the original script, Ben had an extra line of dialogue after being shot by Julie. He said, I'll always be with you, Julie, whilst falling into the grave. Also, the dirt around the grave caved in, burying him. This kind of implies that he would have returned for I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer in 2006. You can see the dialogue in the film's screenplay, published by Archway's paperback and pocket book form. There are other tiny omissions in the screenplay as well. A sequel, I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, was announced in 2000 and was originally meant to star survivors Jennifer Love Hewitt, Brandy Norwood, and Freddie Prinze Jr. again. However, the film was left alone for a while, and the original script, which involved Jennifer, Brandy, and Freddie, was scrapped, and a whole new script was written.
So what you're saying is they decided, they said, nah. I can't get over that.
Despite the script being rewritten, Hewitt was rumored to have a cameo appearance in the new sequel, but never made it.
Well, they're rectifying that now.
For 27 years, the film would be the last time Jennifer Love Hewitt appeared in a horror film, not wishing to be typecast as a scream queen before eventually reprising her role in its sequel, I Know What You Did Last Summer, 2025.
Yeah. Legacy sequel.
I Know What You Did Last Summer's director, Jim Gillespie, spoke against the sequel that lacked his involvement, saying, I thought it wasn't the right story. I didn't like the premise. It kind of killed it a little bit. They had a chance to do something a bit different, and for me, it didn't work.
I mean, sour grapes.
And finally, due to the negative critical reaction to the film upon its release, Freddie Prinze Jr. admits that he has never seen the film because of its reputation. March 2024, Freddie Prinze Jr. recently watched the film for the first time for his horror podcast, That Was Pretty Scary, and admitted that he found the movie entertaining.
Good. That makes me happy. Email us, doyouevenmoviepod@gmail.com. If you think this is a massive stinker and we're totally out of line, I just don't think there's much to hate about it.
No,
it's not the best movie in the world by any stretch. But
so what are your final thoughts on I Know What You Did Last Summer? Or I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Well, I would say it's a rent it because it is quintessential slasher movie horror history viewing.
Yeah.
I Know What You Did Last Summer is a classic. This is a sequel to a classic, so I think it deserves your attention, but I don't think it has to be in your collection.
I think it is rented as well. I think if you watch them back to back, you're really going to have a good time because they really do play into each other really well, which, I mean, you don't always get those with some sequels, but this one literally just picks up right where the other one left off.
I would agree with that.
And I think the atmosphere is great. The kills are solid. And overall, even though, the reveal of Ben's son is a little weak, this is still a really fun movie.
Oh, yeah.
So should we check in with our friends to see what they thought of the movie by chance?
Oh, our friends, you say? You mean old Siskel and Ebert?
I do.
What the hell? I bet they loved it. I bet they were huge fans.
Bet they weren't.
Yeah, that's the old reliable scene where a perfectly innocent person does a completely insane thing and is mistaken by somebody who was scared out of her wits to begin with. That's the best friend and roommate in the closet. Now, why didn't she turn on the lights when she came into the apartment where she lives? Why did she make creaky noises? Why did she hide in the closet when she knows that her best friend has been terrified of slashers for the last 12 months? I'll tell you why. Because a movie like I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is so bankrupt of ideas that it can't even come up with interesting cliches. The movie stars Jennifer Love Hewitt as a girl who is still being stalked because of a traffic accident that happened not last summer, but actually the summer before last.
but actually,
a mad slasher dressed up as the Gorton's Fisherman in a slicker and rain hat is chopping up everyone around him.
He's not entirely wrong.
He's not chopping.
There's some chopping. There's a reasonable amount of chopping. There's enough chopping.
Hewitt and a roommate played by the pop singer Brandy went a trip to the Bahamas with their boyfriends, played by Matthew Settle and Mekhi Phifer.
Yeah, get us copyright struck. Yeah, that's what's up. I know that it fascinates me how occasionally Siskel and Ebert will really love like a movie you're not expecting. This is clearly not one of them that they saw the good in.
No.
Sure enough, the mad slasher in the raincoat has followed them there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, I just don't know. I just think it's fun.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm crazy.
No, I don't know. Like,
maybe.
Now, how did they win the trip to the Bahamas? On a radio station contest where they said Rio was the capital of Brazil. Well, that's the wrong answer. The answer is Brasilia.
Spoilers, Roger.
Phony.
Yeah, geez,
frankly,
Roger.
I was surprised these characters even knew Brazil was a country.
Wow.
What you did last summer is a deadening series of setups and slashings, setups and slashings, setups and slashings, and for its viewers, it's a waste of 90 precious minutes.
It's 100.
101.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, it's 101.
They can never get back. Just think, Gene. That's 3 hours between the two of us.
Right.
And if you multiply that by thousands of people who will see this movie, it adds up to months, years, even centuries, lost forever to the human race.
You know, something else could be said just about the sheer amount of pork sandwiches this man has eaten in his life.
There is that.
If we'd all pulled together, we could have solved some very big problems. We could have gone to a disaster site and, put sandbags by a raging dam.
That's right. We could have.
Oh, okay. Siskel is clearly teasing Ebert for that.
Yeah.
That's him teasing him because that is a ridiculous thing.
It's a ridiculous thing.
The hours that could have been used from this. So I think him saying like we could have went and done these things that like neither of us are ever going to do.
Flooding. We could have tutored kids who want to learn how to read. Maybe have a used clothing drive or something. Think of the hours of volunteer labor that this movie has taken out of the human time pool. Shocking.
I'm going to go home and just cry.
I think I'm going to start crying right now.
Wow.
Jesus.
They never cease. I mean, these are the same guys who brought you the Shame on You to everybody in Silent Night, Deadly Night. And they did have to make some interesting TV.
Yeah.
So I would say they just liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that they only liked it. They didn't love it.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
So we always like to end the show with a couple of recommendations. I have two this week, starting with 2000's Urban Legends Final Cut, currently available to rent on Prime and Fandango. This is a film school is the center of a fresh spate of killings based on urban legends. Of course, the sequel to Urban Legend, the popular 90s thriller. This is a really fun one. Second to that, I'm going to go with another island resort horror film with 2004's Club Dread, currently rentable on Prime and Fandango as well. When a serial killer interrupts the fun at a swanky Coconut Beach resort, a hedonistic island paradise for swingers, it's up to the club staff to stop the violence or at least hide it.
Yeah,
I love that synopsis.
It's a fun film, and that's a solid synopsis.
Yeah.
I'd have to agree. For me, I decided to go with that stormy horror sense with a movie that I feel has gotten a little bit more love in the last few years, but is still kind of not really loved, which is 2007's Storm Warning.
Oh, that's a good one.
Was Dimension Extreme?
Wasn't
it?
Yes, it was.
Which is
same director of Inside, I think.
Jamie Blanks?
Possibly. Or no, the same director as Urban Legend, I think.
Well, now I have to know, and you're interrupting my flow.
I'm sorry.
But what on earth? Apparently they were Valentine.
Yeah.
Same director as Valentine, and apparently a composer mostly. Or
I think I knew that actually.
Or something. I hate when it does this. Yes, I want to see all credits. Okay. They did Urban Legend.
Yep.
Valentine. Yeah. So you were pretty much right.
I think there's another big one, if I'm not mistaken.
But the synopsis, and it's available to watch on Stars or to rent on Amazon on Prime Video. A yuppie couple lost in a thick brush-filled marsh seek refuge at an isolated farmhouse only to discover they've jumped out of the frying pan into the fire.
That is a wild one.
It's totally crazy. I mean, those Dimension Extreme movies were just wild and crazy all the way through. I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah.
But especially because of the storm setting. I think it really elevated it and made it a lot of fun, made it really scary.
Yeah, no, it's a good one. It kind of falls into the Saw Hostel time, if I remember correctly, too.
Dimension Extreme
made
crazy,
movies
right?
like
that. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
well,
without
that one
doubt.
specifically, yeah.
No, there were. Yeah. I would have to agree with you a lot on that one.
So do we have any emails this week?
We do.
Ooh.
And I want to remind you guys, you can email us at doyouevenmoviepod@gmail.com. We love to hear from you, hear what you think about the movies we've watched, what movies you think we should watch, etc. You can also go to doyouevenmovie.com, contact us through there. And we, of course, welcome YouTube comments, Spotify comments, whatever.
Yeah.
So this one is from Jake,
Okay.
who's written in before. The subject line, what the hell did I just watch?
Okay.
Hey, Dave and Henrique. As always, great episode on Malibu High.
Yes.
I haven't heard of it before you guys brought it up and decided to watch it before the episode.
Fuck yes, you did.
That's the way to do it. And my God, was it crazy. Some of the things that happened in it I was not expecting, and it certainly had the feel of a raunchy comedy right up until the murders started happening.
Yep, that is very true.
Like y'all, I laughed when the People's Court theme kicked in and was generally surprised to hear it. Overall, it was an enjoyable WTF ride, and I'm very curious to show it off to a few of my friends to see what they think. Once again, thank you guys for introducing me to another hidden gem, in quotes, via your podcast. Take care, Jake.
Awesome, Jake. Happy that you enjoyed that, because our first reaction, pretty much the same.
Yeah, when Dave put that on the list of potentials for Life's a Beach, I was like, yeah, let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. No, Malibu High is quite a treat.
It really is. No, Malibu High is probably one of my favorite discoveries in like the last few years.
Yeah, and that one, I mean, it really came out of nowhere for us.
No, it really did.
Really fun film.
So would you like to know what we are talking about next week on the show as we continue Life's a Beach?
Why the hell not?
So we are going with a big time favorite of you and I, one that I don't know if people know it or not. It's one of those movies that like I think people do, but like I never hear anybody talk about it. And that is 1992's Captain Ron.
Oh, I mean, I feel like people know about it, but that's because I watched it on TV when I was a kid. So, but Captain Ron is a ton of fun.
It's a lot of fun. Currently available to rent on Prime and Fandango. You can still get a DVD of it. No Blu-ray has come out yet.
That's shocking.
So you can only get the HD if
Maybe
you rent it or buy.
that's what Severin's going to announce.
God, I wish. That'd be a weird one.
That's why I said it. Yeah, it's like, wouldn't it be funny if they were like, and we're doing Captain Ron?
But yeah, Captain Ron with the amazing Kurt Russell. This is such a good time. This movie's freaking wild.
Yeah, it's out there. It's perfect 90s comedy wildness. And I'll have a lot of fun talking about it as we pretend that we're on the beach for our hot summer.
Hot summer indeed.
Yes, indeed.
So do you have anything else to add before we get out of here?
Well, I mean, I still know, David.
You still know?
I still know that you forgot to bring my laser discs from the flea market or whatever it was.
And your VHS of Terminator and Terminator 2.
Oh, there was a Terminator 1?
It's both.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, from live.
Dope.
Yeah.
Oh, I just love that. Once I saw the Live Entertainment logo, I was like, I'll take them.
Yep, I figured you would.
So, but that's all I have other than saying, nah.
Well, we would like to add that when we have the show next week, when you hear the show, we are going to talk about the new I Know What You Did Last Summer, because this, as you're hearing this episode, if you're not hearing the early release, it is coming out the end of this week.
Right. And what, I mean, how excited are you about it?
I'm pretty excited. It was one of those movies that I didn't know how I felt at first, because I liked the Amazon series. I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was fun. But it's just like legacy sequels can be real hit or miss. The one that I always just keep going back to is how Texas Chainsaw Netflix tried to do a 2018 Halloween. And
I feel like they were trying to make fun of it a little, and they just fell flat on that.
It just felt really bad. But yeah, I think the trailer, if you haven't seen the trailer so far, check out the trailer on this one. It looks really fun. And I'm very curious to see who the killer is.
Yeah, I am excited to see it. Like, I want to see it right away.
Yeah.
But the trailer previews and stuff haven't really done anything for me. I've just kind of like, cool.
Yeah.
We're going to see a new one. So I'm hoping that it'll be really a blast and I'll have a really good time with it and they'll do something kind of new with it.
Yeah.
Because this is awfully late in the Legacy sequel, since it hit in 2018.
Yeah.
We're pretty late in the system.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, and I absolutely could be wrong. Is this, because Halloween 2018, of course, obviously took place in Haddonfield, as did the others.
Right.
Is this the other one that is actually returning back to the town that it's from?
I feel like maybe. I mean, there's this the whole Legacy sequel thing is kind of just blown up in many different ways. I mean, you had the Exorcist one that kind of went back. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if they all do that, but they're bringing back 2 of the leads.
Yep.
They're bringing back the location. They're bringing back the killer. So, I mean, Scream, to an extent.
Yeah, to an extent.
So, yeah, I'm curious. Like, it could be really awesome.
Yeah.
Or it could be fine, or it could be just stupid fun.
Yeah.
And I'm open to all of those opportunities. So we'll be talking about that as well.
We will.
Next week on the show.
And possibly Superman.
Oh, and well, I mean, I'm down. I'm curious.
Right.
Once I don't know how. I didn't find out until like 2 weeks ago that James Gunn directed it.
I mean, literally, you're talking to the guy that just watched Christopher Reeve Superman for the first time this year.
That's
bizarre.
bizarre.
I know, it's weird.
It's very, very
and
weird.
it's so weird because I was always a Batman kid.
Of course you
and
were.
Superman never really was one that I loved when Batman and Superman would team up.
But you were like one's an orphan, but the other's a rich orphan. I want to be the rich orphan.
But yeah, no, I'm very curious to see both of those films.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll be talking about that next week. So I guess all that's left to say is we will see you next. Na 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 na. David Hush.
All right.